Hello, everybody. Beefy Boys Breakdown, episode 20, UFC Fight Island 6. Let's go. It was a fun night of fights. Not one of the best cards of the year, but, I feel like we're starting to get some pretty stiff competition. Definitely wasn't a bad card. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Let's get my Beefy brother on here, and we'll dive into it for you.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
What up, my guy? How you doing?
Good. How you doing, man?
Doing real good, especially I got back from Tahoe and these badass dreadful talk shirts were waiting on me.
Yeah, hell
So,
yeah. They look
BB,
good.
oh, thank you, brother. I'm super excited. Yours will be in the mail soon, coming
Yeah.
your way. And I will be on the phone with the T-shirt man today to get these Beefy Boys tees in the work. So, Beefy Boys fans out there, merch is officially coming soon. Got that sponsor money kicking in. And yeah, man, we're gonna keep it pushing.
What a
Real,
what a better way to celebrate 20 episodes, huh?
yeah, what a perfect way to celebrate 20 episodes, exactly. And man, yeah, next week will be the perfect way to turn
Turn
21.
21. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Exactly right.
that'll be a good one, man. But yeah, man, let me get my little leftover Sierra. Dude, for some
Ooh.
reason these things tear me up, bro. Like.
Yeah, yeah. Just real beers destroy me nowadays. I don't know what it is about them, but like I get destroyed off like the next day, you know what I'm saying, off
Yeah,
regular beer. Seltzers
no,
are great though. Feel
yeah,
great the next day on seltzers.
definitely. Yeah, no, that's why I started drinking those motherfuckers, bro. Like, oh, you mean I don't have to have a hangover?
Yeah, like I
Bet.
don't have to feel terrible the next day. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll play the game. But we can jump into this card. There is a couple things I want to note. Joe Martinez still sucks as always. Bruce Buffer, please, 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 just every event, please. I know he has other stuff, but bring
I,
him.
I'll be real. I was too hyped that we had DC back to really pay much
Yeah, that
attention.
was my
It was
other
good
note.
having DC back.
That was my other note. Is DC's back? And then I had one other note too about just the card as a whole. Only two refs.
Yeah, we kept seeing the same dudes
It
over and
was
over
it was it
again.
was Bosashki and Olsen. It was just those two.
I'll say it was a shorter card compared to the
11,
past.
yeah, 11 fights. Yeah,
Yeah, like what was the last one? Like fucking 14
13
or
or 14.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So maybe that had something to do with it.
I could see
Quick
that.
note too, want to fire this up on air. This is my first time trying the shit that I grew. So this is
Oh,
some Dom's own grown here in the California sun. I'm gonna oh no, I've been curing it, been curing it, been curing it. I'm gonna fire it up for the first time on air.
congrats, bro. 20th episode, getting set. Man, what a day. We're having a day today,
Got
aren't
my
we?
own t-shirts, my own weed, fucking my own podcast with you, man. This is a good ass day, man.
That's some self-made styles, lifestyle.
It's nice, man. It's nice. Hell yeah, I definitely spent money on worse shit than this. Like, I'm not saying it's the best thing ever grown,
Hey,
but you know what I mean? It's definitely not bad.
hey. Yeah,
Oh
I
man.
bet hell yeah.
Oh,
Hell yeah,
bro.
congrats.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm like hella proud right now. I feel like this is my newborn baby that I'm lighting on
Yeah,
fire. But man, go ahead and introduce this first fight, buddy.
for sure, man. So, and I actually did forget to text you my picks. I'll send them to you once we get through with this first part. That way you can have them to look at. But Said Nurmagomedov versus Mark Striegel. Said Nurmagomedov is a minus 420 coming in. Mark Striegel is a plus 330. To be quite honest, this was kind of not even like a fair fight from the start because Striegel's like a Southeastern Asian champion, Sambo as his background. But Said Nurmagomedov is a master of sport in Sambo and world champion. So
Oh
it's
wow.
almost like you're like putting a guy that's already not as good in the exact same discipline against a guy that has more fights and is just like overall the better fighter. So I think everything
Yeah,
about this fight said Nurmagomedov to me from before. And then, holy shit, did it say it in the fight? 51 seconds. That's all it
definitely.
took.
Yeah, Vegas got this one on the head with that money line for sure. Quick note, Saeed, no relation to Habib.
Right.
Apparently that's like the Smith of Dagestan. You know what I mean? It's a very common name over there in Nurmagomedov. So yeah,
I,
I don't know. At first I was like, oh, definite Smith. I mean, might as well have been, right? I mean, if I was Khabib, I'd start claiming this guy as my cousin.
Yeah, right. Well, I know Khabib's brother, he has a brother named Usman, which is super confusing because DC will reference Usman Nurmagomedov, and I'll think he's talking about
Kamaru
Kamaru
Usman.
Usman.
Yeah.
Right. So that's real confusing for me.
But yeah, literally, bro, my only note was first round Dagestani domination smash. Like it was classic. It was right out of the goddamn Dagestani playbook.
Yep. Yeah, I
Just
mean, right
smash.
out of it.
Yeah, just I mean, classic. Like
Dude, that
every
ground and
time
pound
I
was
see a guy with a
vicious.
neck beard, I expect this type of result.
Kutaloledze, the
Exactly.
exact same thing, like just vicious striking for the entirety of the time.
Yeah, and
Um,
man, yeah, and I guess that we didn't notice that this fight did we did kick it off with a bantamweight bout,
135.
135. Yep.
Which brings me to the point that division is so deep. My roommate was sitting on my bed watching this fight with me when I got home. I actually watched the prelims twice. I watched most of them at work, but I didn't have sound and I couldn't take my notes, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
then I came back and rewatched them.
I bet that
Um,
helps. I bet that actually kind of helps you see things a few
yeah, I
times.
feel like it did actually. I feel like it did, but that takes a lot of time too. I don't know if I'm in on that every time.
Yeah.
I
No, I
mean,
feel you.
Sunday morning. If
Yeah.
we did anyway. 135 is just so loaded. That was what
It
I ended
is.
up saying is that it's so deep, man.
Yeah, like I think if you took all of like so not the top 15, but like out of the remaining guys, like the top 10 remaining unranked, like the best 10
Oh yeah,
unranked bantamweights,
like
I'll, I'll
16
put
through 25.
I'll put those guys up against 16 through 25 about any other weight class.
Yeah, no, I think that's about right. I think that's about right. Featherweight and bantamweight. I mean, lightweight's deep too, but like we talked about in our last episode, it's just those are the normal walking around weight classes for most guys that are normally sized, like like 5'10" or under.
Yeah, definitely not the beefy boy, that's for sure.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
Yes, sir.
oh
Well,
man,
we
but
can keep it
yeah,
pushing to some
yeah, we can
beefier
keep it
boys.
pushing. Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, go ahead and introduce him.
So at 205, we got Maxime Grishin at minus 360 versus Ghazi Murad Antigulov at plus 280. Uh,
Gulov's
Grishin,
second appearance on the breakdown, I believe.
yeah, and Grishin's as well. Grishin actually
Okay,
fought Marcin Tybura at heavyweight in
that's
his last
right.
fight and got pushed against the cage and was held there, remember?
Yeah,
And that
yeah,
was the
yeah.
fight we were saying you need to move, like,
Oh wow, so that
or
was a super quick turnaround for him.
yeah, and we actually called out too because he weighed in at 227 or 223. We were saying like, why doesn't he fight at 205? What's he doing? Blah blah blah.
Yep, I remember that.
Well, he is fighting at 205 now,
Yeah,
and he looked
yeah,
way better for
he
it,
did.
huh?
Yeah, he did.
Uh, these guys were big feints to start. They weren't really throwing to start. I think they were
Yeah.
kind of nervous about the power. I thought Christian had some nice kicks, although Antigulov put him into the clinch a lot in the first
Yeah,
round.
yeah. So, bro, actually, I wanted to get into that because I gave round one to Anti-Gula because of how effective he was able to use the clinch. I thought his clinch was super effective, and it was kind of a close, kind of feeling out, kind of opening round. And
Right.
in that kind of round, I felt like the clinch was probably the most dominant position established in that round. So, I actually gave round one to Anti-Gula.
I actually scored it for Grishin. I thought that I thought the clinch was like maybe lean toward Antigulov, but it wasn't like it was like, because there were times where Grishin would turn and he would be on the outside of the clinch as well. So it wasn't like control time was like wildly different.
Yeah, yeah, it was a very close round. I'm not really gonna
Yeah,
die on any
and
hill or yeah.
I also wrote extremely close feeling out round.
Yeah,
So
definitely,
I think that's
definitely.
really what the first was. I think both these guys understood that they were probably gonna connect with some shots and try and put the other one out
Yeah,
because they've
which is
apparently
exactly
trained
what
together
happened in the
before.
next round, right?
Right? Yeah. I mean, apparently they've trained before. They're both from Mahachkala, Russia, so that makes sense. Um, but man, Grishin came out and just kind of started dominating the second round. I thought
Yeah,
like he landed some big shots and got Antigulov rocked.
I gotta say though, and I mean, I'm not gonna like
That was a
necessarily
questionable stoppage.
took the words out of my mouth, bro. I straight up call it a weak stoppage.
Yeah, it
Like
was a bad stoppage actually.
this isn't usually the route I take. Like I usually err on the side of caution. I usually like understand what's going on and why a fight is called, even if I thought somebody could hang in there a little longer. Like I can usually, like, oh well, better safe than sorry. So I'm usually on the other side of this argument. Like I'm usually kind of pro short stoppage or quick stoppage, and 9 times out of 10. I just thought this one was just uncalled for mainly. And I know you're not supposed to technically factor this in with your stoppage, but the fact that they stopped it with like 2 seconds left, just it
Yeah.
left a bad taste in my mouth. Like he
Well,
100%, 10 times out of 10 survives the round. Like he
for
would have got
sure.
saved by the bell and he would have lost the round and he was getting dominated on the scorecards. Yes, but I don't know. I'm not on board with that stoppage. I thought that was weak.
I just never saw his legs wobble. I didn't see him
Yeah.
like he wasn't leaned fully back into the cage, just like absorbing. He was just shelled up. You know what I mean? He
No,
was
I
leaned
agree.
forward, just shelled.
Yeah,
And
it
like,
wasn't like I guess he could have probably benefited from a little bit more head movement. Probably would have not stopped it. But
or
I mean,
maybe shot in for a takedown there at the very
yeah,
end
or
and just
so
wasted the few seconds in transition.
exactly, man. But
But
I don't know, man. Yeah, just I to be honest, I would have thought it was a weak stoppage even if it wasn't 2 seconds remaining. But you couple that with the fact that the round was essentially over. Like there was 0% chance he was getting finished by the end of that round.
right,
So
right,
it
right. Like
just
how is that a technical knockout? Like how is that technically a knockout if you know he wasn't going to get finished by the end of that round?
like it's like a technical round loss, but not a
Right.
technical knockout. Yeah.
And that's what both fighters thought. Grisham went back to his corner like it was the end of the round, and Antigulov started wagging his finger at him like, no, you're not going to put me out like that. So it was literally like he knew that there were 10 seconds left in the round and just decided to shell,
Yeah.
just defend.
Yeah, he thought he had survived the round. He was just trying to I think he consciously was doing what he was
Right.
doing. It wasn't like
he
he was
was
just like beaten senseless
no,
and
he
in
was
survival mode.
he was intelligently defending
Which is
himself.
the fucking word by word textbook definition of what's supposed to, constitute a stoppage. So yeah, man, I definitely wanted to spend a little time on like what I consider one of the weaker stoppages, especially
For
considering the
sure.
fact that we had these kind of obscure refs and only the two refs for the whole night, and it just kind of all those things kind of seem kind of intertwined a little bit, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, there's some questionable decisions I thought too after watching it.
Yeah, I definitely had one or two that I disagreed with for sure. But so Grisham ends up, winning as the favorite, correct? Or TKO.
Yeah, wins by TKO, minus 360 favorite. Called out. Oh man, who did he called out someone after the fight? I just can't remember off the top of my
The
head. Who it
first
was.
couple prelims, I fast forwarded after like the post fights and all that because I got back from Tahoe late. Like I woke up at like 6 in the morning and started and like
yeah.
to try to I was like if I leave Tahoe by 9, I'll get to San Jose by 1, all good. So I woke up at like it's like a 4-hour drive. And so like I woke up early and everything, but with piss breaks and all that shit, I ended up still getting back like an hour late. So the first couple of fights I was kind of fast forwarding through the post fights and still trying to like get caught back up with live. But so I missed some of the post fight interviews and things of that nature, call outs and things. But so I just kind of want to qualify that. I was trying hard to get back here on time. I missed it a little bit, so I was just kind of playing catch up.
For sure. Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but I don't think it was like
Anything
great.
too noticeable.
Yeah.
For sure, man. This next fight was really, really entertaining, I thought.
Yeah, and I was also going to say, is this one of the? Did you agree with the decision in this next one?
So I think I agreed with it, but Twitter disagreed with it, and I noted that. Like,
Okay.
So I actually, but I knew it was controversial. Like I knew we were probably going to be on opposite sides of this, and I'm actually looking forward to discussing this one with you.
Yeah, so we have Faris Ziam at plus 110 versus Jamie Malarkey at minus 130, and they're fighting at lightweight, 155 pounds.
Yep.
You got Bosachki in there as the ref, who is like, he's weird, dude. He'll call for action when they're like literally like, in grappling transitions, and I'm like, hey, bro, like what? They're trying to get to the action. Like, just let him work.
I totally agree. It was driving DC nuts too. He was like, yeah, they just started. Like it was driving DC nuts. It was the good news is he seemed to kind of be all talk. Like he would threaten that a lot, but I don't think he ever actually stood anybody up all night. So it was weird. Like on one hand, it was like this guy, like essentially just needed to shut up because he wasn't actually doing it.
He was just a flex lord.
Yeah, exactly. He just kind of like made it about him. He hit the Hockley
Right.
referee flex, like, yo, I'm in this bitch. I'm on TV right now.
The
I
Joey
don't know.
Crawford NBA game.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, bro. And no sports fan in any sport enjoys that at all. Like, no, like it's yeah, dog. Like, when nobody's here to see you, nobody's watching TV to see you. Like, just make sure nobody gets hurt and stay the fuck out of the way. Essentially, like, I don't know.
Yeah, right. Like make sure that the rules are maintained. That's all we want you
Also,
to do.
want to take a quick second to say fuck you to ESPN Plus's UI, like the user interface. Like, I used to work at a software company, so like I always like pay attention to like how good a UI is. Like Netflix's UI is ridiculously good. It's so intuitive, so user friendly, and like ESPN Plus's sucks dick so hard. Like, it's ridiculously bad. Now, granted, I'm using it on like a PlayStation and a smart TV, so maybe it works better like on a laptop or something. But goddamn, does it suck fucking dick? I just wanted to fucking shout that out and just shame it real quick because it's horrible. Like the like on Netflix, you fast forward something and so you can kind of see what you're fast forwarding past, like the little screenshots.
Oh, now I know what you
Like
mean.
ESPN Plus, bro, when
Yes,
you fast
dude.
forward, you click it and like you just like randomly jump like 3 minutes and 15 seconds ahead. It's so bad. It's unbelievably bad. Like, you
Dude,
honestly had to try to make it that bad. And it's a company, ESPN, owned by Disney. Disney Plus's UI is fantastic. You literally own ESPN. Just give them the same goddamn UI. Fuck.
see, it's something I never thought about. But here's the thing: is like I watch all my fights on record, right?
Yeah,
So like
yeah,
that's something I've dealt with the entirety of the time because I watch them on my Xbox One.
yeah.
So
So you've
I've
been known
gotten
about this.
I've gotten so good at the fast forward like jumps. Like I literally
It's
like
a
I
guess.
see. No, because I know there's 1 minute between each round, so I know exactly when I start to hit the fast forward. I look at the time and I'm like, all right, 1 minute. And I click it and I know it. I have like, dude, if you were to watch me in action, it's fucking like a science, dude. I got it
Bro, you
down.
know
Like
what it is?
I can do full fight jumps almost, where I have the time between fights.
I envy you, but my thing is that it shouldn't require a goddamn skill. Like
Right,
fucking,
right,
you know
right.
that game like a Chuck E. Cheese or whatever local arcade you grew up going to. There's the thing where the lights going in circle, and if you stop it on
You
the line,
stop
you
the
get like
button.
1,000 tickets. That's what it fucking feels like. Where every time I want to fast forward some shit, but
Dude, it
I know
is.
I've been watching them live this whole time. Last night was my first time having to deal with this. So, goddamn, sir, hats off to you for mastering that fucking little shook and jive you got to do to fucking
Dude,
get
and
fast
I love how the
forward.
fast forward on it is 2 times, 4 times, 8 times, 16 times, 32, 64, and a 256. It's like, what?
Well, and
There's
then
like six speeds.
one more little gripe. They put like, so whenever you go to rewind, I'm sure you've experienced this or maybe not, but have you ever tried to rewind? They put like 2 hours of like, this fight is coming soon. The little
Oh
ES.
yeah.
And so if you fast forward thinking you're going to the beginning of the fight, you really like, oh god damn it, it's horrible.
Yeah,
So
the where it's just like literally the set live stream and it's just like event set to begin soon. And you're like, oh, what did I just do?
yeah, so I wasted like fucking 15 minutes dealing with that too. But yeah, we'll keep it pushing to this malarkey ZM fight. But god damn, I just had to just fucking wag my finger at, and just shame ESPN Plus. It's so horrible. We deserve better as fight fans. You listeners, you Beefy Boys fans out there deserve better. It's horrible. Get your shit together, ESPN Plus.
Sorry, my dog is just over here growling, trying to get him to shut up because someone's walking past the house. Uh,
It's
but
all
yeah,
good.
man. So malarkey is the word in this fight because I thought the decision was malarkey. All right.
I was
Although,
waiting for it. I was
uh,
waiting for it.
although the first round I did score for Ziam, if
Yeah,
I'm
so
being honest.
I gave it super close, like super close.
Yeah,
I acknowledge the first round was insane, and it was like a good kind of close too. Like both guys were throwing, like it wasn't like a boring close. Um,
yeah. I said
it,
super close first round that I'm
but I
leaning
gave it to
towards Ziam.
Ziam. Yeah, I gave it to Ziam. Yep. Now I gave, and apparently this is where me and the majority of folks out there disagree. I gave round two to Ziam, like even more decisively than I gave round one to Ziam. Like
Oh, see,
I don't understand where the controversy is here, in my
I thought it was
opinion.
really close, but it was that Malarkey got like 3 takedowns in the second round.
Yeah, all right, you're right, and you're right, you're right. He did get all those takedowns, and
Now,
what I
granted, like one of them he didn't control him at all.
Yes, I did. I thought he wasn't really doing much with them, but people that like takedowns and they do score nice on the scorecards, I give you that. I did kind of discount those takedowns. But what I have written in my notes is that while he did get those takedowns, he didn't do much with them. And like I thought Ziam was more effective and inflicted more damage on the outside than Malarkey was able to like be effective on the inside. Like I just thought Malarkey, like, yeah, he got the takedowns. They're kind of paper takedowns, though, in my opinion. Like, I don't know. I don't feel like they were super effective or did a whole lot with them, or he didn't really do any sub attempts once he got him down. Didn't really have any effective ground and pound. So it's like, kind of what's the point? But I get it. I get it. They do look nice on paper and they do score well. I guess that is where the disconnect between me and the people that thought this was malarkey kind of. I think that's where we kind of go. The fork in the road kind of comes is how much emphasis you place on those takedowns and what he was able to do with them. But
Yeah, I think that's absolutely the scoring differential is just your value of a takedown in this. I think that's totally it because who'd you score the third for?
I actually gave the third to Malarkey, but I still had him
Me too.
losing the fight because I gave the first two to Ziam. I thought Malarkey had a really good third round. I thought if he would have been able to do in the third if he would have been able to do in the second what he did in the third, I thought that this fight that would have won him the fight because in the third he was able to take him down and keep him
And
down
control
and be
him,
effective and
and
inflict
actually get ground
damage.
control, yeah.
Yes, and so
And wear him out too. Ziam was getting tired by that
totally.
point, too.
So it's not that obviously me, but for the listeners and viewers out there, like it's not that I'm one of those guys that like doesn't like appreciate grappling or takedowns or wrestling. It's just that like because he demonstrated what effective grappling and wrestling could be in round 3, and I don't feel like that's what his second round looked like, which is why I didn't give him the second round. So yeah, I had it pretty much agreeing with the score with the judges, the 2-1. But I noticed that a lot of people on Twitter disagreed. I was kind of thinking that you would probably disagree. But yeah, it was a very great fight, like potentially fight of the night, maybe not, but it was a great fight.
As far as like being close, no one got robbed. Definitely not a robbery either way. For sure not. Yeah, I mean, I just scored for Malarkey. You scored for Ziam. I think that's the story of that fight is that it was just a great fight.
It was a really good fight. And man, it's like neither one of these guys were ranked. Neither one, that division's so damn log jammed that I don't think this loss or this win really helps or hurts either guy that fucking much.
What's crazy is how great that fight was. The next fight was so fucking bad.
It was so bad. Yeah, it was bad. Except for I came out of it with like this strange appreciation for Park. Like I don't know. Like,
he gave me as a fan. Iron Turtle. Yeah.
He gave me as a fan. Like I don't know, but yeah, take it away, brother.
So at middleweight we had John Phillips at plus 230, who is the first victim of Chimaev on Fight Island. Just for anyone that didn't know.
Yes.
So he ate. He's the guy that landed 2 punches. So half the shots landed. That's pretty good.
He's walking around bragging. He's like, hey, I scored points on Chimaev.
And he made it to the second round.
Fact.
For Chimaev. So then he's fighting Jun Young Park, who's minus 280, the Iron Turtle. Sick nickname.
Bro. I wanted to say that. I always like to shout out the nicknames I like. That was step 1 into gaining me as a fan. Iron Turtle. And just the fact that he's a goddamn beefy Korean. Like, how much
he was a thick boy
is this
Korean.
guy? That's what I'm saying. He was like 5'10". He was like a 5'10" middleweight. He was like mine. I was like, bro, how many thick Koreans named Iron Turtle? I was like, this seems like my kind of guy.
He was awesome, man. He was
down
cool.
On some bulgogi together.
His translator was super cool too. That's one thing I did notice is that the Russian translator, terrible. That guy was terrible last night.
It was so awkward.
The one guy that translated Korean last night, fantastic. It was fantastic.
Man, I think it might be something about the languages though. Like I feel like Korean to English, like that's a smooth transition. Like I know a bunch of Korean people that speak phenomenal English. Like I feel like certain languages translate into each other well and certain languages don't. I feel like, and I could be talking out of my ass, I don't know any Korean words, but I just feel like Korean people typically have a easy transition with that shit.
Yeah, but in Korea they use like symbols like China, right? They don't use letters like us.
No, they definitely have their own alphabet, but maybe I don't know. I have no clue. I don't know shit. I'm talking out of my ass. I'm just saying it seems to me in my life like whenever I know a fuck ton of Korean people, and I like they all are really good at English. Like I don't know, I feel like it's
Also,
a better translation.
I will say Russian probably has way less English spoken within the country because we have no military presence within that,
That that's
whereas we
another
have a
big thing.
bunch within Korea.
Yes, yes, yes. That's I think that also factors in. Good
Yeah.
point. Good point. But yeah, man, like this was dominant.
I
I
mean,
the
literally, I wrote this fight was just pure dominance.
This is how we can sum up. This is a question I've never asked you on Beefy Boys
Do you agree with the
Breakdown.
score? Do you agree with the score? Because I don't.
I think my question is gonna like answer your question. I think
A
how
triple,
many 10-8 rounds did
a
you have?
triple 10-8,
You,
baby.
you gave it three. Okay, I can
Yeah.
totally understand that. I thought Phillips looked enough better in the third round to make it a 10-9. Like I don't think he did good in the third round, but I think compared to the first two,
But that's not like I see. That's the thing is
that's
like
a shitty way to
you
score.
can't compare it to
Yeah, no, I
because
feel
literally,
it.
bro, I thought the second round could have been a 10-7.
Yeah, yeah, okay. So by that logic, that would definitely make round three a 10-8. For sure, for sure. I just, but by that same logic, you did it. So I don't think round three is like the same as round two as far as like how bad he
But do
lost.
you think round three is the same as round one?
I thought round three was still his best round, but that's saying
I
like
mean,
what does that even mean?
you were on point with the judges last night.
Yeah, yeah, I was. I agree. I gave him two 10-8 rounds, which I still think is utter dominant. I mean, that's still ridiculously dominant. But yeah,
I mean, yeah,
I gave the third round a 10-9. Like maybe I was
I
feeling merciful. I don't know.
I gave it the triple 10-8, man.
Triple
It's just because his not only his skills were bad too, right? Like he couldn't get up whenever when he got taken down at the instant that Jun Young Park wanted to take. Jun Young Park doesn't take people down usually. That's not
Yeah.
even his style.
So yeah, and we'll get into actually some of the details for people that didn't get a chance to
It's the
actually
most
watch the
ground
fight.
control time in UFC history.
Yes, yes, a record was broken on the 13 plus minutes of ground control in a 15-minute fight. It broke the middleweight. It wasn't a UFC record, I believe it was a middleweight record, but still, that's fucking. You can only break. You know what I mean? He's a middleweight. He
Now,
broke the middleweight record. That's really
is
impressive.
is that whack though that he doesn't finish him in 13 plus ground minutes at middleweight?
That's the question. And that's the reason why we never see this many 10-8 rounds because typically, if you're losing that
You
many 10-8
finish
rounds, you're
him.
going to be asleep. I don't know. It was kind of. I mean, everything was going so well for him, right? Like
Yeah.
why you could argue like strategy wise, because to go for a finish, like even in a situation like this, you by definition have to leave yourself somewhat more vulnerable if you're going to go for the finish, whether that be for giving up your dominant position or maybe giving up a sub attempt or something. Just you're giving them room sometimes to breathe and recover. So. I see both sides of the coin. Now, I mean, Park definitely is not first team all athlete. Like you can tell by his body. So maybe it was just physical limitations keeping him from finishing. Or like I said, I think their argument could be made that it's kind of like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, everything's going like you couldn't have dreamed it would go any better. So why take any
Right.
risk, potentially get some fluke sub or let him get back to his feet or you know what I mean? So I'm not gonna be too harsh on him for. I'm gonna look at this one glass half full as opposed to glass half empty. I'm gonna give him credit for the 10-8s, and I'm not gonna knock him for not finishing. But I can see that argument being made. Now I also am not making the argument that Parks shooting to the top of the middleweight division anytime soon.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So
No.
if he was like an up and coming prospect, you would like to see the finish, but. I feel like he fucking did set out to do what he accomplished, and I don't got a problem with it.
All right. Well, what do you think about John Phillips? Should the UFC cut his ass? I mean, because Shimaev is obviously a monster.
Yeah, yeah.
This dude's not Shimaev.
No, yeah. I mean, he didn't do himself any favors. I think if he was a 135 to 155er, he would have been cut before he probably sat down after the octagon. Middleweight, middleweight's interesting because you're starting to get to those bigger weight classes. It's not rare like heavyweights where you just need bodies. Like it's not that rare, but it just numbers wise, there's not as many like if you was a featherweight or a bantamweight. So
Middleweight's probably the end of the line for like the elite people that will make it in just based on like regular body size.
yeah, so like that's I'll say, like I said, if anything, he gives him another UFC fight, it'll be the fact that he is a middleweight and that he's not one of those smaller guys. I think if he was a smaller guy, he'd be donezo.
For
But I don't
sure.
know. I'll put it this way: maybe he's gonna wish that they would have cut him because his next fight, they're gonna throw him another like short notice monster to like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
God, poor guy, man.
I mean, poor guy. I mean, he can. Like I said, Shimaev, it's really hard to hold that one against him. I mean, Shimaev is looking like some complete animal. But I mean, this one, Park, like we said, I mean, Park's not like that was it should have been a winnable fight for him. I mean, it
Yeah,
clearly wasn't. He got dominated, and maybe I'm selling Park short. I really don't think I am. Like I don't. I think this is a scenario of Phillips being that bad as opposed to Park being that good. Now, Park's good. Like I'm not saying Park performed well, but like I said, just physically, just looking at him, like he's not, he's just not just a force of nature by any stretch of the imagination. You know what I mean?
yeah. I don't know what to think about Park moving forward because I think Phillips is so bad. His fucking stance to open the fight was ridiculous. He looked like the Notre Dame logo. Yeah, he literally was like this, like arms fucking set. It was so ridiculous. I was like,
Oh
dude, get
man.
out of here.
What was the feature prelim on this fight? I was dumb in my notes and I like wasn't watching it live, so I like
Oh, so we had after this we had Jillian Robertson and Poliana Botello, and then the feature prelim
was
was
Kudaladze.
yeah, Mateus Gamera and Guram Kuchitaladze.
All right, cool, man. But yeah, let's keep it pushing into the first women's fight of the night.
Yeah, honestly, a Beefy Boy's favorite, if you recall, Jillian Robertson, old
Yeah.
red hair cornrows,
Yes. She
but also sick grappling skills, bro.
sick grappling skills for sure. Yeah, this was a flyweight bout at 125. Robertson was the minus 210 favorite. Poliana plus 175. Robertson was actually a ranked fighter. She was ranked 15th going into this bout. Man, they gave her a tough physical matchup. As far as just like body, like physical, like measurables. I guess I should say. Like
Yeah,
it
but
was
Botelho had like a really like well cut physique, and stylistically should have been difficult for Robertson because
yeah.
she's a
Well,
good striker.
and she was 3 inches taller and had a 4 inch reach advantage. So like just
Yeah,
physically, like they said that on paper it should have presented some matchup problems for her.
yeah, she did a good job to really like work her game and like work for takedowns and be kind of semi-effective in the close like clinch striking to get to the takedowns. In the second and third it wasn't that. In the
No,
first round
yeah,
that's more what it was.
first round was so close, bro. Like I legit couldn't
I
score
scored
the
the first.
first.
I
Who'd you give the first to?
I actually scored the first for you know what's dude, this is actually crazy. The first time I watched this, I thought Robertson won it, right?
Yeah.
I came home and I rewatched it and I scored it for Botelho.
So I was I had it for Botelho until like I don't know, but Robertson finished the round strong and she finished the round on top. So I know how judges like minds work. This was a
Right.
classic example of where like I probably would have gave it to Botelho, but I could easily see the judges liking how Robertson finished the round on top and giving it because it was such a close round, just being like, oh well, you ended up on top, we'll give you the round 10-9.
It shows you how close round it was that I watched it live and
Yeah,
scored it for Robertson and watched it on recording and scored it for Botelho.
totally. Yeah, no, and I legit couldn't make up my mind when I was watching. I only watched it once, but I was like, fuck, I could easily see it going either way. So, yeah, I mean, great first round, but like you said, that's
Yeah.
kind of where the competitiveness ends. Robertson
Yeah,
came out in
honestly.
two and looked whatever adjustment she made coming out in the second round. Her coach, it worked. Like whatever the coaches said to her, fucking, they earned their little money that fight.
I guess, yeah, like shoot a mid-level takedown and then just get like an outside reaper a trip is essentially what they told her because she went straight to it and just, I mean, once it was to the ground, it was all her fight.
Yeah, it was all her fight. Yeah, definitely the more dominant grappler. And we're talking about this in the last fight or in the Malarkey fight, how he would get the takedowns, but then not really do much with them. In the second round, Robertson started just the ground and pound was really
Yeah,
effective.
big round. What'd you score the second round?
The second round, I gave it just 10-9, but it's actually funny you mentioned that. I considered doing a 10-8 in the third round. In the third round, I wrote 10-8 question mark. So I thought the third round was more of a 10-8 than the second round. So I scored the second round 10-9, but round three, I don't know. You tell me. Did you
Well,
give
that's what I was asking for is like
oh my
because
bad. I apologize.
no, you're good. No, because I was gonna say if you scored round two at 10-8, then you definitely were gonna score round three at 10-8. That was
Yeah.
why I asked.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah.
was more like
So
a setup. You know what I mean?
oh, okay, perfect. Yeah. So yeah. I didn't give two, but I could easily see three being a 10-8. It wasn't like the
Okay.
worst 10-8. Like it wasn't like definitely it was a 10-8, but it was a pretty goddamn dominant round, and I definitely could see a 10-8 in round three more so than round two.
I feel like I'm getting a little. I feel like I personally am getting a little more loose in my 10-8s, and I need to be careful.
I mean, either that or I'm just get off my grass, stingy McGee. I don't know which one, but yeah, it's
I don't know. I've just felt weird about it lately because they talk about how it's like the new rule system or whatever, but then it's like I've seen 10-8s before the new rules, and I still see people give 10-8 on that same exact round, but it's like
well, I mean,
if
the
the new rules
thing
are in
is.
effect, then like shouldn't it be a 10-7?
Yeah, and we never see 10-7s. Yeah, the whole
Right.
new rule thing kind of seems like lip service to me, in my opinion. I
That's what I'm
haven't.
saying. Like that's what I mean is like is it lip service or is it not? And I'm trying to make it not.
Yeah, I feel it. I feel it, and I can't necessarily knock you for that. Yeah, I just. Well, and the thing is, like one judge's 10-8 is not the same as another judge's 10-8. So it's like it's not even like we're the only ones that can't agree on what's a 10-8. The people that actually get paid and do this for a living can't.
Dude, think about
Like,
this. They sit at different angles around the cage. So
yeah,
one judge might see a guy connect with a counter shot that the other judge can't see.
totally.
So
Man,
there's all kinds of times where like you'd see like in championship fights, especially in 5 round fights, you see scores that are all over the place because judges can't see the same angles.
and we're watching on TV, which is a whole nother angle and an advantage in and of itself. Like, have you ever been to like live fights, like just like in your own personal life? Like,
Yeah,
not
I've been
even
to a
UFC,
Bellator
but
event.
okay,
Yeah.
dope. Bro, like I've been to like I think one or two boxing and one or two MMA. So I've seen a couple. And it was just kind of it was pro, but it was like a smaller promotions and stuff. But even that being said, bro, the speed of the hands live is so ridiculous,
Oh,
and
and when you hear them connecting too, if you're like
yes.
sitting up close,
Yeah, exactly. It's a
it
game
is
changer.
something different.
Like everybody always says that about baseball. Like that's like the classic generic thing to say about baseball. Like, oh, it's way better live. Like you don't yeah, baseball doesn't translate to TV well. You hear that all the time, and I can kind of somewhat agree with that. I can also
Yeah.
kind of disagree with it because like if you like watching pitching, then TV is way better. Like way better. But
Oh,
if
because
you
you're zoomed in on the pitching.
yeah, and you
You
get to
actually
see the
see the
strike
ball.
zone
Yeah.
and all that, the stats and all that shit. Yeah, it's way better. But like, if you're sitting on the third base line, you don't fucking know if it was a ball or a strike. Like, you're just gonna cheer
Yeah.
for your team. Like, yeah, but like so. But anyway, I'm kind of getting sidetracked. But nobody, I feel like nobody ever says this about fighting because fighting is actually good on TV. But even though it's good on TV, it's like it's a whole nother thing in person. Like it's
Yeah.
just like you can just hear the impact, see the spit flying, the fucking whizzing through the air, like literally like shoom, like it's fucking nuts. It's
And like seeing him move like in the cage in front of you live and like having your perspective of
hearing
like,
them breathe.
right, yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
another
it's
thing.
fucking nuts. You're
It's
very aware
intense.
that it's two human beings.
Right. That's the
Yeah,
thing is like they're for sure humans
for
when they're in front
sure
of you.
human beings.
Like it's
Yeah,
like watching a fight in like a house, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
You're
like this
like,
is
"Oh
not a
shit."
movie. This is not a cartoon or a video game. Like these are dudes. Like just
But
like
that's
I'm.
I mean, shout out to the UFC then because they make it look so professional from the TV
They do.
shots they use and stuff. So
No,
like
oh, the
good on them.
production is through the roof for sure. And like I've even watched like if you try to watch like some smaller promotions or whatever, it's the angles and camera work is way shittier and production values way shittier, for sure, man. But yeah, man. So I think you kind of get the viewers get the gist of it. But Robertson does win a unanimous decision. Wins as the favorite. And I imagine she's probably got a top 10 coming her way. I mean, she was 15 going into this. She looked super dominant against a physically like taller, longer fighter. I don't know, man. If I feel like if she accepts anything outside the top 10, she's kind of doing herself a disservice, or at least her career a disservice. Maybe not her
Yeah, I
face.
mean, DC asked her after the fight, who do you want to fight? You got to call someone out. and she said anyone that's 14 or above, she just wants to fight anyone that's ranked ahead of her so that she can continue to move up.
I feel that, and that's probably a way to get a fight sooner. I
It's
just
not enough though. Like I would say, like I just put on a good show at
and
15.
I just
Like
did
give
you
me
a
someone
solid
that's
by fighting an unranked fighter at 50. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Like I'd be
I
like
just did you a solid. So don't
yeah,
ask me to do you a solid on my next fight.
right. I'd be like let me get like 10 or 11 and prove that I'm a top 10 person. Because if
Totally,
you can
yeah.
get a win at 10 or 11, you're essentially a top 10 fighter.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So yeah, I mean she's badass, man. I'm definitely and then the flyweight is less crowded than Bantam and Straw. So
Yeah, but I mean,
she
we added a new one last night. But I mean, we'll get into that later in the
yeah, yeah.
co-main. But like, yeah, flyweight's not deep
That's what I'm saying. So if there is a division to like ascend fastly through, it's women's flyweight.
for
You know what I'm
sure.
saying?
For
For
sure,
sure. So
it's the least deep division in all of UFC. I mean, we've talked about that before too.
yeah, yeah. So and that makes all the difference. I know we some people may think we spend too much time talking about it, but like the log jams and the traffic jams, like it has just as much to do with matchmaking as rankings does, and it's a lot. I mean, it matters a fucking fuck ton how deep each division is. It really affects
It's why
title
Jessica.
fights.
It's why Andrade went to 25 last night. Is because she couldn't win at 15, and she's been at 35, and no, she can't win at 35.
Yeah, no, that's and she looked good too. We'll get into that.
Yeah,
We'll get into that. But yeah, I'm glad. Nice. I like that. I like that. That was nice. But yeah, man, we'll get to this feature prelim real quick, and then before we get to this main card on the next round. But yeah, we had Guram Kutaladze at plus 260 versus was it Makut's Gamra at minus 330, and it was both of their debuts, and they were both like well credentialed debuts though. Like these
oh,
weren't
dude,
some like
I can't
spunky
believe they
little.
made these guys fight each other. It's like actually some bullshit they made these guys have their debuts against each other.
I- It's a bullshit.
But it's not though because they're both so good and they should like
and they're
so
both.
jitters would be real for both of them in this case. Like no one has that UFC experience yet.
It was a super fair matchup. It was a super entertaining matchup for the fans. But you're right. If I'm in their camp, if I'm actually them, like if this is my career, I'm like, oh, this is my debut. Like, yeah,
Like
no,
I
I
have to
feel
face
you.
a fucking killer. Like okay,
Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you. So it's like on one hand, like if I'm a viewer, if I like which I was a viewer last night, I thoroughly fucking enjoyed it. I'm glad that it was the matchup, but I totally understand the argument you're making. Like for their individual careers, yeah, fucking brutal debut matchup for sure.
dude. I do want to note that Gamrot was 17-0. It's a lightweight fight, so 155. He's minus 330 coming in. Kutaladze is like 11-2. He's Shimaev's training partner, one of them out at All Stars, and he was plus 260 coming in.
Yeah,
Uh,
but also what they did, or they talked about it, but they doesn't factor into his direct MMA record. They said that like Kutaladze, all disciplines, all different martial art contests combined, he's probably had like 700 competitions. Now that includes wrestling matches and grappling matches and things that aren't.
right.
But yeah, they said he estimates over like 700 like martial arts competitions logged, and he's a lifer. He's been doing it since he was fucking knee high. So
I mean, he
I,
looked like it too. His body was
that's
just
what I'm
shredded.
saying. It's all the hype was on the 17-0 Gamrot, but 700 like old boy was so experienced for a debut.
I,
It seems like a contradiction, but
I mean, but I'll say Gamrot was sick. Yeah, Gamrot
yeah,
was sick, bro. I just want to note in the first round, his shots were so good, dude. Like from a guy that has like actually wrestled and really follows like just college wrestling and freestyle wrestling.
yeah,
His
basically
shots
knows
were
his wrestling well.
beautiful. Like his
Yeah.
shots were beautiful.
And just
Um,
athletically, he looked like a freak. He really did. Like just
yeah.
physically, like athletic. Like he looked like a fucking welterweight almost. Like he was jacked.
Well, that guy that we saw last week, Dricus Duplessis, was a champion from the same organization that this guy was a champion from,
Oh,
KSW.
okay. All
So they're
right.
coming from the same spot. So that's why Gamrot probably got such a big number from Vegas, is because Vegas kind of missed on Duplessis last week with their
So they
number, and so they.
overcompensated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's interesting. That's very interesting. And yeah, I think you noticed that you noted it already, but our man Shimaev was in Kutaladze's corner, so
Yeah, and the
Definition.
ref actually yelled at Chimaev at one point in the fight, quit hitting the apron because he was making it sound like there were 10 seconds left, and he was like,
And I think
"Stop."
I think it was DC was like, yeah, good luck with that one, ref.
Yeah, yeah.
He
Good luck
said
telling
something.
Hamzat to
Yeah,
stop anything.
exactly. He's like, yeah, good luck with getting him to stop. But
But
who'd you
DC
give
is
round
super.
one to, brother? Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. I gave it to Gamrot actually, super close, super close.
Yeah, I gave
Kuda
it to
lot.
Kudaladze.
Oh, okay, okay, that'll be the
I thought
difference.
those body kicks were doing a lot of damage. Those classic Muay Thai body kicks from Kudaladze were landing real clean on those ribs of
See, I thought
Gamrot.
the kicks were good, but it's just like Gamrot's shots for me were so good, and like he just kept getting takedowns on a guy that has great wrestling, right? Like
Yeah,
Kuda has really good ground game, so for him to get those takedowns, I was really impressed. Now, granted, he didn't control him long most of the time, but that's going to be because Guram is so good at getting up and knows how to stand up.
true, true. Yeah, and that's just the classic debate. Like, if you get a takedown, and aren't able to keep him down longer and inflict much damage, like A, was it worth the gas you expended? B, how much did the judges factor it in? C, like how, like was it worth it? It's very interesting, and that answer quite literally changes depending on who the judges are, who the fighters are. Like that's the most subjective thing in all of MMA, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now, one thing I did want to say too is like, dude, DC is so observant. Like he is so
Yeah,
good on the call.
it's
It's
so
it's
good.
crazy. Like when he noted that Gamrot, whenever he was in orthodox stance, was going to strike, and whenever he was in southpaw stance, was going to wrestle, and called it within 2 minutes of the fight, and that was the entirety of the rest of the fight for Gamrot.
Yeah,
I was like, holy shit! Like
he's
DC is
like
a
he's like
different
the Tony
level.
Romo of MMA announcing.
Dude, like he just points out shit where you're like, oh, well, if you're in the fight and you notice that, like you're good. Like you
Yeah.
figured it out. Like you got the key.
And for those people that think UFC's MMA is just a blood sport, just a fought by cretins, like there's an IQ,
It's a
there's a
it's the
headiness to it for sure.
no, I think it's like the most real physical chess match there is on earth.
Definition of it, yeah. No, I agree, man. So round two, who'd you give to?
So also we should note just real quick in the second, I don't know, well, it might have been the first round or second round, but Kudic almost got disqualified for throwing a soccer kick because there was a point when Gamrot had like a knee
Oh
down and
yeah, that's
Kudic almost kicked
right.
him in the face.
Yeah,
That and he
it
would
was
get
close.
DQ'd for that.
It was close. It was close. I think it was fine though. Like, I was fine with them allowing that to kind of continue. I thought it was close, but no cigar in my opinion.
So the second I actually gave to Guram though to answer your
Yeah,
question, Kudic.
me too. And I thought it was the similar narrative of just Grim kept getting up to his feet like that, like, and I actually gave him more credit for getting to his feet than I was giving Gamrot for taking him down and essentially doing nothing with it. So yeah, his takedown D, his grappling defense was really impressive, and it's rare that I
But
give a
was it
guy
impressive
around.
though? Was because he's getting taken down. So it's not like he's defending the takedown. He's just getting up.
But he was getting up like that, like
But I
instantly.
mean, like, so like, are we rewarding chin? So like, you can eat a shot, but you because you can eat the shot, like it's.
Oh yeah, I mean, I kind of do reward chin honest, and I think we all do, whether it's subconsciously or not. But yeah, I mean, if you can, because
But
I
I
don't
don't
know.
score it positively. Like I look at it, I'm like, damn, like Shane Burgos can eat a shot, but like, do you want to eat a shot? Like, do you want to have to get up?
I think in a super close round or a super close fight, that could be the difference. Like, because it's like it's not okay if you're only eating shots and not returning it, but it's like okay. If I landed 40 shots and you landed 40 shots and I ate your shit and I caused damage with mine, then yeah, that chin does factor in. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I would agree, but it's like Kudic didn't get takedowns. So where did he return those shots? Like it was not
what,
40 to
what,
40
let me ask you this thing. You said you gave round two to Gurren. Why did you give him the round?
because he was striking cleaner. He landed
Okay,
some really
okay.
nice hooks outside.
Yeah, that too, for sure, for sure. I'm definitely glad you
I
noted
thought
that.
his damage just outweighed what Gamrot did. Like even though Gamrot might have had like technical numbers as far as like takedowns or whatever, like his damage was not with Kudic in that round by any means. Like I
Facts,
thought
for
Kudic
sure.
was like hurting him in that round.
Yes, definitely, definitely. And then round three, I actually did give to Gamrot those
Me too.
takedowns, and I think he was just a little more effective with them. It kind of reminds me of the once again, it kind of reminds me of that Malarkey fight. Like if he would have been able to fight round two or round one, like he did round three, like both of them won round three and lost the fight, in my opinion. And I think
Yeah, honestly,
some
my stock went so up on both these guys though.
and the fact
Like
that it
I
was
was,
both of
I
their debuts, like it kind of
yeah,
that's kind of another good thing about it because Dana set it up to where neither one really discredits themselves. Like if they would have fought like a
right,
veteran gatekeeper and lost, it kind of would have extinguished the steam on the hype. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like since they both
yeah.
fought debuts, it was a close fight. It was good. I don't really feel like either guy really damaged their career out of this. If anything, they only like helped gain
Oh well,
notoriety.
oh shit, my bad. So
No,
hold
you're
on,
good.
I have a really interesting point to bring up actually about all this. So I scored at 29-28 for Gamrot. You scored at 29-28 for Kutateladze, right?
Yep.
It goes to the
Which is hilarious
scorecards.
because there was a split. Yeah.
Split decision. Two judges score it like you. One judge scores it like me. So Kutateladze wins, right? Did you
Yeah.
watch the post-fight interview on this one?
I don't believe so.
Bro, the first thing Kutateladze says to DC is, that guy won that fight. It's number one bullshit that I won tonight. It's the first thing out of his mouth.
You know what? I do remember that. I did see that. Yeah, and I mean, I disagreed with him, but I mean, it's cool though because it just shows you like he holds himself to a high standard, and he expects. I mean, that should be exciting for people that like Kudaladze that want to see him do well. Because if he wasn't satisfied with that and he still got the
For
win, I
sure.
mean, I think that's a recipe for greatness. Our potential greatness. Like it's definitely not a bad thing. Like I actually disagreed with him when he was saying that, and I'm glad you brought it up. But yeah, he's a competitor. I mean, we both felt that way. Like we won a football game that we felt like we played like shit in, and or in like maybe a teammate of yours bailed you out or just something happened, but you got the win. And, after the game, everybody's telling you good game, and you're like you didn't even watch. I played like shit, but you're just as athletes, as
Right.
competitors, we're hard on ourselves. At least the good ones are.
Right. Yeah.
Hello.
I mean, this is Gamrot's first. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
All
you're
right,
good.
cool. What I was thinking is that this is Gamrot's first loss ever, right? And
Yeah.
Kutateladze is out there saying, like, I don't think I won the fight, and it's a split decision. They should just run it back. Let him
Yeah,
have a
but
chance to avenge his one loss. But it's not
But
good for the UFC. They should probably run it
UFC
back later.
never does rematches on like not high
Yeah.
level fights like ever and I kind of get it.
I
I
get it
don't
because
know.
they need proven records in the UFC to get there. But these guys will, like, they should let them each get a new opponent. Give Gamrot a good opponent. Give Kutateladze a good opponent. And they could probably meet again down the road.
Yeah, I think if it happens organically, like down the road, if one's ranked 12 and one's ranked 10 or something, a couple years from now, fine. But I don't think they should go out of their way to reset it up. I mean, it was a good fight. It was a good fight. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a badass fight. It was controversial fight. All these fights that
Twitter community was upset with the decision. There were a bunch of fighters that were saying that they thought Gamrot won.
Yeah, man, both it sucks because like both guys did what they wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? That's when a fight can be hard to judge whenever it's like both fighters execute their game plan, but it's like whose game plan did the judges like better? Because it's
Right.
like you
It's
said,
really what last night was.
yeah, like Kudaladzi's striking was much more effective, but Gamrot, I mean, goddamn, did he have 10 takedowns? How many fucking takedowns did he have? A fuck ton.
I
And
want to
like
say he had like 8
multiple per
takedowns and he
round. Yeah,
attempted
like
like
multiple.
18.
Yeah. So like he set out what he like wanted to accomplish. I think Gamrot's just got like he's not the first fighter to lose a decision based off getting takedowns and not being able to do anything with
Control
it.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's a narrative as old as MMA itself. You know what I mean? Just so he just got to work on that ground and pound, maybe work on some submission finishes or at least some submission attempts. Like that's what struck me. I don't even think he was really like attempting much. Like he would like get the takedown and then kind of be like, "Oh shit, I didn't like think this far ahead." Like in the movie Ted, whenever the bear, he's like, "I wasn't prepared for any follow up questions." Like I don't know, I feel like he gets the fucking takedown and just Like, oh, all right. Well, I practice takedowns a whole fuck ton, but what I don't know. I don't feel like he needs to work on that next step, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. He just needs to learn to. Well, I don't know, man. Kudrsaladze is a beast too. Like it's hard. We'll see.
Yeah, he
Both these
was a
guys are
beast.
like both these guys are like we're just going to learn a lot about them from their next fights because they're
Yeah,
both so good.
yeah, totally. Yeah, definitely, man. But yeah, that wraps up the prelims. My beefy boy, what is up?
Yo, what up? What
Uh,
up?
yeah, no, that was really strange. Sorry for the little technical difficulties there, everybody. But got my buddy
Instagram just
here with
hating
me.
on us.
Yeah, hating on us, man. We're using a platform for something I don't believe that they really intended it to be used for. But like, fucking a, like I don't know if you can hammer in something with your screwdriver, the nails still get hammers in. Doesn't matter
You know
what
what?
you use. Yeah.
Hey, I'm with that. I'm with that all day.
For sure, man. But yeah, let's get to this main card, bro.
Got a beefy main card.
UFC Fight Island 6, Ortega versus the Korean Zombie. And, man, we haven't really talked about it yet, but just the fact that they literally like they were treating Korean Zombie like it was his legal name on his driver's license.
Yeah,
Like
bro, I was getting a little salty because like I always like in my notes I have like Chan Sung Jung wrote, right? So I
Chan
was
Sung
like,
Jung, that's his real name, correct?
yes, yeah. So I was getting like upset because I was like, hey, like no other fighter gets to just be called by their nickname the entirety of the time, right? Like they have a fucking real name, and so does this guy. Like
Yeah, it was
I
really
don't
strange. Like
like
what?
like
I
like
definitely wanted to spend some time just kind of getting into why do you think they did it? Do you think it was cool? Did you like it? Do you think they? Yeah, like
I don't know. And like when Joe Martinez, oh, hate Joe Martinez once again, introduced him, he was like he was introduced him as TKZ, the Korean zombie Chan Sung Jung.
yeah, that is a really strange way to introduce. That's a really strange way to introduce a fighter that because all fighters have nicknames. Oh, you there? But you froze up on me.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Audio came back. Video just came back. All right, cool. But yeah, I was saying, yeah, like no other, like there's really no precedent for this, right? Like every fighter has a
Right.
nickname. Like quite literally, every fighter has a nickname.
But they don't just get called their nickname all times.
It's not on the poster. It's not on the promo. Like it was really, really interesting. Like, and in my the only thing I can say is he had to have signed off on it, right?
Yeah, I guess, right? Because like the
Like
UFC can't. Well, it's
this is
promotionally
what the
good
only
for
thing
him.
I could.
I go back
That's
and
what I'm
forth on
saying.
it. Like I go back and forth.
Like I think that I don't think that like the UFC like shoved this down his throat. Like I think that this is his own marketing on how to like gain more American fans. I really
I
do.
agree. Have you seen
And I
his
think it's
t-shirts
been
before?
effective.
He has the best
I,
t-shirts.
yeah, dope ass t-shirts. I mean, honestly, dope ass nickname. Like, it's not that I'm
Yeah, it's a
hating on the Korean Zombie. It was
but
weird at like how official they made it. Like that's how they
well like
marketed the fight.
is it a nickname or is it his name? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. No, no, for real. Like, just we've never seen it like this. Maybe I guess Kimbo Slice or like CM Punk got to go by theirs. But
CM Punk. That's there you go. There you go. There you
yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah. But so I guess there is
Kimbo's real
kind.
name was Kimbo, wasn't it? Was it not?
I don't think his real name was Slice.
I think it was.
Okay, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe he just has the trillest name ever, and it appears that way. I thought Kimbo Slice wasn't the government name. I don't know.
I
Maybe
don't
I'm
know.
tripping.
I don't know. That's a good
But
question.
so there's potentially another example. Maybe not.
I'm, there's like Cyborg, Chris Santos, the male Cyborg, or like
They would actually just put Cyborg on the promotion out.
yeah, or like
Um,
Chris Cyborg, like the
the
Chris
theme,
like
yep.
female. Both of them were called Cyborg. You know.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess it's not totally unprecedented, but it's just weird. There seemed to be like an extra stamp of officialness on this. Don't you? You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
and
So
it seems unprofessional to make that an official thing. That's kind of almost
yeah,
how I feel about it.
like 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 I totally understand announcers using it because like they don't want. Actually, you know what? Chan Sung Jung is like quite literally easier to say than the
Super
Korean
easy.
Zombie.
Yeah, like
Less
Chan Sung Jung. Like
syllables,
it's
less
super easy.
super easy. Yeah. it's strange. I don't want to maybe like take it here and try to seem like ultra woke, but like is it like a racial thing?
There you
I don't.
go. Shout out, Coach Milo, Kevin
Oh,
Ferguson, Kimbo Slice.
oh yeah, coach, good looking now. Okay, so yeah, Kimbo's not his real name. So
No.
so that's another example. They definitely marketed him as Kimbo, but it's just weird how like picky and choosy they are with it. You know what I'm saying? It's not like certain guys, I guess they did it with. So yeah, and Kimbo Slice definitely wasn't the Korean. So I don't know. Like I said, I like to believe that there's no funny business going on, and maybe Korean Zombie found a way to make put a few extra bucks in his pocket, sell a few extra T-shirts by marketing the fight this way. Whatever. Like I said, I hope he was on board with it, and I don't think it's disrespectful, but it definitely was just unique. Like literally, the card is called Ortega versus the Korean Zombie. Like
Yeah,
that's just not every day. Like,
that's
yeah,
what I have written right there. Like
yeah,
it's
like
I even wrote Korean Zombie. Like
yeah, like it's not every day that just you know what I mean. It's not your every fighter doesn't get to go by that. So yeah, I just wanted to spend a little time kind of touching on that. Very unique, very interesting. I said potentially nefarious, but I'm gonna kind of go ahead and just like give him like benefit of the doubt and assume that it's good for Chan Jungsung's pockets, and just we'll keep it pushing from there. But man, first fight fucking card started off with a really interesting matchup, man. Jonathan Martinez, which we've seen him on the breakdown
yeah,
before, and then Thomas Almeida, who was like a up and coming prospect who was sidelined with injuries for multiple years, and is kind of getting back at it second go around. So really interesting matchup. But man, god damn it, bro. Martinez looked so good. Like I think
so
we watched
good.
Martinez the last time we watched him, and we were just
Yeah,
kind
he
of like,
got
oh, where
robbed. He
this
got
guy came.
robbed.
Yeah, he did get robbed. Yeah, and but we were both liked him a lot,
Hmm
and man, but he looked a million
He
times
got like
better.
visibly better. He got like
Yeah, like
visibly better.
noticeably, like he fucking was in the lab.
Yeah, and honestly, like the first round was really good. And honestly, Thomas Almeida is this super good striker. Like
Yeah,
Thomas Almeida's whole game is to be in the pocket exchanging. Like that's what he wants to do is bait you into these trades. Martinez wasn't playing those games and also was comfortable when they did play those games.
yeah.
Like
Like, I
he
thought
played those games
Martinez
at
was a
his
better
control.
striker.
Yeah, like and he honestly was landing like he landed a head kick I think in round 2 that was super saucy near the end of the round, or maybe that was round 1. But he also was just landing really clean like
Good
straights and
jab.
hooks.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I
yeah,
feel you. Yeah,
and
his boxing looked great. Like everything he did looked really good. Like he was well rounded. Man, Martinez looked great. Did you give any rounds to Almeida?
man, I didn't. That's the thing
No.
is I didn't, but I don't want to say that it was like that far apart either. Because I thought the
I
first round was
do.
back and forth. It was just that Martinez was more efficient. Almeida was throwing more and landing a little less. Like they were super close. Like, did you see the CompuStrike numbers?
No, no, I didn't see the numbers on any fights last night because I wasn't watching them live and I didn't want to
So
spoil my I didn't want to find out who won before I knew who won.
just for context sake, the first round Martinez outlanded him by 4 strikes. The second round he outlanded him by 6 strikes, and the last round he outlanded him by 1 strike.
Yeah, but bro, that's where
But
the
he was
numbers
landing more efficiently.
and just harder, like doing more
Yeah, right, right,
damage.
right. That's what I'm saying. Like he was
Yeah,
throwing a little less and damaging more with the strikes he was landing.
yeah,
So like
bro. Like
efficiency was through the roof for him.
yes, yes, and just sometimes, bro. I don't know. I know baseball like goes through this a lot, like analytics versus
Right.
eye test and gut and gumption and old school baseball knowledge. Like every once in a while, man, I just be having to lean on that old eye test and just like, look, man, I watched these two dudes fight, and Martinez, in my opinion, Martinez whooped Almeida's ass. Like how you want to break that down on the scorecards, you know what I mean? But just old school, keeping it blunt. Who won? Who beat whose ass? Like Martinez put a whooping on Almeida, in my
hmm
opinion.
hmm I would say that the numbers actually were a little non-indicative of the
Yeah,
difference. Like I thought Almeida's shots that were landing were like shots off the shoulder or glancing blows, whereas like Martinez was landing very clean and rocked Almeida probably 3 or 4 separate times.
definitely. Yes, yes. I definitely, agree with all that. I did think that, like, all things considered, the third round was Almeida's best round, but not
Yeah,
enough to win it for him. But and which kind of sucks because whenever a guy is out of the octagon for I think it was 3 years,
yeah, he looked
had
rusty
multiple
too.
surgeries, I think, and then you see him perform well in the third round. I mean, it's kind of not even bullshit to say that the first
Ring
two rounds
rust.
may have been some rust. Yes, I think like that's not even necessarily that much of an excuse. Like that actually what we saw, the evidence kind of lends itself to that. You know what I mean? So I think I personally think Almeida's going to look a lot better in his next fight. And I think that the UFC was kind of trying to maybe throw him an easy one with Martinez, but I don't think anybody anticipated the work that Martinez had put in and how much he had improved from the last time we saw him.
Yeah, I didn't expect him to be this much improved.
I don't
Honestly,
think I don't think
Vegas
Dana
didn't either.
did. Yeah, or
Dana
Vegas,
didn't.
exactly.
No one did. Like Jonathan Martinez is making leaps and bounds in his career. Like he's a young guy too, so it almost makes sense, right? Like his skills are going to sharpen a little faster than a guy that's already 34, 33, 32. Those guys are already like, kind of cut and defined.
Bro,
This kid's young.
you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say it too. I feel like it's the elephant in the room. I feel like people maybe don't want to talk about it.
Oh, this is
I'm
145 too. This is featherweight.
Oh, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, and then I'm part Mexican. Maybe he gives me a pass, but like he does not fight like a Mexican fighter. And
Doesn't fight with his chin.
it doesn't fight with his
Fights
chin,
with his
and
brain.
not even necessarily a boxing base either. I mean, he has good boxing, but he's a true
Kicks.
martial artist.
Yeah.
I don't know, like I feel like a lot of people they see a guy. It has a long reputation in boxing of like a Mexican style of boxing, but I feel like in MMA we kind of try to like translate that, and a lot of Mexican fighters fight quote unquote like Mexican fighters, but he doesn't. He's a very very well rounded like true martial artist. Like
Dude, he looked really comfortable. If anyone that he reminded me of last night, it's Paul Felder.
that's okay. I like that. That's a very interesting.
He was like
Very
really
interesting.
in the pocket, really comfortable, was down
Yeah.
to trade, but wasn't taking damage to give big damage.
And he looked fresh too. He didn't
And
look
he
like a
looked,
gas tank.
cardio was great.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, man. But yeah, we'll keep it pushing. So yeah, Martinez won 30-27 unanimous decision. Cashed as a small underdog plus 115, but something tells me he may not be an underdog in his next fight. He's looking good.
I think they're going to give him a good fight at 45
Yeah.
next. Like they're going to give
there's
him
so
like
many
a
guys.
bottom. They're going to give him a bottom end 15, I think, because Thomas Almeida was a guy that was sitting right around like I believe 12 or 13 before he fell out last time. So you're talking about he comes back, he's probably sitting around like low 20s, high teens, and Martinez pulls off a victory. He's probably going to get a close to 15 shot or a shot that's like a guy right outside the top 15.
And in those weight classes, you know what I'm saying?
How
That
deep?
fighter
Yeah, it's so
is
deep, like we
super
talked about.
talented guy that could not be ranked for sure. For sure, man. But yeah, we'll keep it pushing next. James Krause versus Claudio Silva. Krause was a minus 135 favorite. Silva plus 115 underdog. So, Vegas thought it would be close.
Some
And
welterweights here.
yeah, welterweight at 170. And I mean, it really wasn't as close as Vegas might have had you seem. But Krause does win as the favorite. I gave all 3 rounds to Krause, bro. Did you give? I mean, did you have Sylvia winning anything?
Yeah, I actually gave the third to Silva, but I also noted it was too little, too late in the entirety of the fight. It was almost like Krause was sacrificing that round to just be safe and not give him any takedowns,
Yeah, we see
no
that happen a lot.
submissions,
That's very
and
common.
well, James Krause, he as far as like octagon appearances recently, he's coached almost 3 times more often than he's fought, as far as like coming up to the UFC octagon. So he is much more active as a coach than he is as a fighter.
That's interesting.
And I think it kind of was on display last night because like he just fought a super smart fight. Like the game plan was fantastic, and it was just well strung out throughout the entirety of the fight. Like never getting close, never grapple, just keep your distance, just pop the jab, and just control.
It was very
All it was.
fundamentals, like you said, and we talk about all the time how it's easier said than done to keep the distance. Every fighter with a reach ever always just says keep the distance, but
Ooh, I don't know, Jay. We're gonna get there. We are gonna get there, sir. Keep watching. Keep watching. We're coming up on that.
That's interesting to talk about.
We're coming up on that.
But yeah, I mean, Krause, like you said, ability to keep the distance, technical, fundamental, sound. I think sound would be a good way to describe his performance.
Yeah,
he
well-rounded.
Unanimous decision. I'm pretty sure 30-27 across the board.
Yep. And I have no argument with that. That's fine. Like if you give the third round to Krause, totally fine with that. I just thought Silva was just a little more active, and as far as damage, like Krause didn't do anything in the third round for the most part, other than be like defensively smart. Which I'm not going to discredit that, but it's also like I'm going to say who wins the round, like I think Silva might have won the round.
And I'm not mad at that either, for sure. But yeah, I mean, welterweight's interesting. The Kraus, it's weird with guys, right, that are super fundamentally sound but don't look like athletically freakish. It's like,
Well,
how do you project that? Like,
and he's old, and he
yeah,
coaches so often. Like he's just
yeah.
on his way out. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Even though that's what, thank you. Even though he looked really well and performed well, it's hard for me to like project something really dope moving forward. You know what I mean? That's just not where he's at. Exactly.
Yeah, it's like Ed Herman, the fight we watched, which still a bullshit victory, and it's still a bullshit nut kick. Ed Herman, you suck. It's just like these older guys, like they realize like it's not a title shot anymore that's left in them. They're just trying to get these fights and like prove that
Have
they
to
still
keep
have these
check.
skills, get some checks while they're at it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man, for sure. And
Now on the exact opposite side of old is the next two fighters,
yes,
Crute and Buskauskas. Jimmy Crute,
young lions.
24, Modestus Buskauskas, 26. Crute's the minus 310 favorite, and Buskauskas was plus 250. They're 205ers, and like they're cut 205ers. You know what I mean? Like good
Yeah,
size
that they were
205ers.
jacked.
Bro, Jimmy Crute is a monster.
Yeah.
In my picks, like that was. I'll send it to you. I had 5 units of confidence on him to
Oh,
just
really?
just put
Wow.
the work in.
I was pretty bummed that I was actually coming back from Tahoe on Saturday because I
Yeah,
wanted to place one more bet and get my redemption. Man, that would have been. I'm gonna lie to myself and tell myself I would have won money on this fight had I just been able to stay in Tahoe an extra day.
yeah. I mean, you would have because I would have told you to take Ortega, and he was plus 170. Like
Nice.
that just outright would have told you to take him in a decision.
Oh no, I was talking about on this. Yeah, no, yeah, no, that would be a better fight to make money on for sure. But yeah, it was a brutal TKO by Crute in round one. Had to be knockout of the night. I didn't look, but I mean, he deserved it. I mean, he
I mean,
definitely
it
probably
had to
got a
be,
bonus. He
had to
definitely got a
be.
bonus. I counted it, bro. On from the drop shot to before the fight was ended, because you know the quote unquote like button that like drops people like where the hinge of your jaw, like that,
Yes,
yeah, like
yeah,
the
like
button,
yeah.
bro. There were like four button shots like
That's what I
all the
have.
way
I
down,
have,
yeah,
I have, yeah,
and they
I
were
have
all
four
like
flash
precisely
KOs.
accurate, just like jaw. It was super impressive. He fucked man. Bukowski got fucked up.
Yeah, like just straight up, like no other way to say it than like Jimmy Crute just like landed one good shot and followed it up with three excellent shots right
Excellent. Yeah, they
after.
were so accurate too. Like
Dude, and
they weren't like
powerful. They
power.
were
Yeah,
like big hooks too.
yeah. Like I just want to emphasize like the accuracy of them. Like they weren't
Oh, they were
no
landing
brutish
clean.
caveman hammer fist. Like they were just like it was crazy. Like but it was essentially like from the time he connected with the first to the time he hit the ground, there was like four more. Like it was really impressive. It looked like a goddamn like punching drill.
Like Buskauskas probably didn't know what happened whenever the ref was standing over him, and that's kind of what it looked like. He literally was like so flash KO'd so many times. He was like, "Where the fuck am I right now?"
Yeah, and I mean, Crew, I mean, that's exciting moving forward. He's young, he's explosive as all fuck, he's athletic. And like I said, the accuracy and the actual boxing skill, like it wasn't just like wild winging shots from the hip or anything. Like they were accurate, precise, crisp strikes. He's
He
exciting moving forward in the
he
division.
he called out Nikita Krylov after the fight. So I mean, you're talking about a top 15 guy he's calling out. Top
Yeah,
12, I think. I think Krylov's 12 or 11.
that's a smart call out. That's a smart call out because you got to, keep it realistic. Guys like win one fight and want a title shot, but
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he was like ranked if you were gonna rank him like 17 or 16. Like he was the guy that was the cusp of 15.
yeah, he's exciting moving forward, and especially how young he is. I mean, he has so much
Right.
time. Like I said, he's in athletic prime. Just yeah, I mean, he's exciting moving forward, and like we talked about earlier on the podcast, how the division you're in can kind of like determines how fast your ascension will or won't be. In 205 is a division, not crazy log jammed. I'm not insanely deep. I mean, there's a lot of good 205s. Don't get me wrong, but it's not 135, 145 like we were saying. It's
Yeah,
those.
205 kind of sits right in the middle of that. Like probably has 8 or 9 guys with John Jones leaving now. that
Yeah.
like I could see like getting a shot for the belt.
Well, and let's just keep it a buck, bro. A lot of people with Blachowicz holding the belt think that the belt's wide open. Like a lot
I
of people,
agree. No
a
offense to
lot of
Jan, but I agree.
yeah, it's weird. It's one of those things where I like Blachowicz and I was super happy for him that he won the belt, but at the same time, like I can't like ignore the fact that he's not like head and shoulders better than anybody in that
Like
division,
I feel
really.
like yeah, I feel like Thiago Santos and I feel like Yuri Prohaska both are gonna have something to say about that to
It
Jan Blachowicz.
and but like in a way, I mean, if they do take if one of those guys you just said do take the belt from Blachowicz, couldn't you make the argument that you could say the thing about them? Somebody could take the belt from them too. Like
Prohaska, the way he fights, that's always an option because he just like will hang his face out there and invite you to sock him out so that he can hit you harder,
I was
which
gonna
is
say,
crazy.
you think we're gonna have like a revolving door, like a revolving golden door at 205 for a while? I do. I don't think
Yeah,
anybody's
I
gonna
don't.
hold it down for too long. There's too many
Yeah,
young lions and freak athletes and just bad
205 is
motherfuckers.
it's so matchup heavy too. You know what I mean?
True.
So
Yeah.
matchup heavy. Whereas like John Jones, that was the thing that made 205 so boring was that it didn't matter what matchup you gave him. He
Exactly.
was so well rounded. It was
Yeah.
like he's just this much better here, 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 here. Doesn't matter. Well, now it's like all these guys have skill sets that don't match up like that.
Like exactly. Like Blachowicz is a power puncher. Like it's as simple
Right,
as that. Like that's
right.
what
And
he
now
is. I
we
mean,
get entertaining matchups because of that.
yeah, no, you're right. That division is going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, I know we're kind of jumping the gun on Crute and title and all that, but I'm just saying the reason why we're able to kind of dream and project forward in the 205 division is because of, like we were just talking about how, no, the belt's pretty much wide open, which if the belt's wide open, everything underneath is wide open too. You know what I mean? Guys are
Right.
going to be moving up and moving down, and rankings are going to be changing that division. At least that's what I predict moving forward. So for sure, man. Keep it pushing to this next badass fight.
Co-main.
Co-main, Caitlin Chikagian, ranked number 1 in the flyweight versus Jessica Andrade, and it's one of those weird things where she's unranked technically on paper because it's her debut in the weight class at flyweight at 125.
And to give everyone context, she would be the number 2 ranked strawweight before she left.
Yeah,
So she is absolutely a top 5 fighter in the women's weight classes between those two 10-pound divisions. Like,
yeah,
for anyone at home that thought this was like you know what, number 1 lost someone unranked, like, no.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
this was a top
exactly.
5 fight the whole way through.
Totally. They're like quite essentially not allowed to like put a ranking in your debut in a division because
Right, and in
yeah,
fact, Vegas was very respectful of that, giving Andrade the minus 165 favorite and
yeah,
Chikagian the plus 140. And
yeah.
honestly, if you look
That was
at it, man,
interesting.
Andrade is just such a monster, though. Like, this is what we talk about with 125 not being deep.
Yeah,
It's not deep, man, because all the best girls cut the extra weight and go to 115, or they're bigger framed women. And so when they cut extra weight, 25 is too little, but
you're
35
right.
makes sense.
You're right. It's just a smart move for Andrade. It seems to me like this is the move to make if you can make it. Like not everybody's
Right.
physique is going to allow that, and you don't want to it's just. But those that can, in my opinion, is looking like probably should because strawweight is jam packed, and then bantamweight is full of just murderers and
Oh,
monsters.
side note, you know Julia Avila, Raging Panda
Yeah,
from OKC? She came in and ate at the restaurant I work at like last week.
hell yeah, that's
She was
dope.
super, super hot in person when she's dressed up. It was crazy.
That's dope.
Crazy, crazy.
Oh man, it sucks when these Beefy Boy stickers just slide in the
I
chat.
know,
Like,
I know.
oh man, that's dope though. Hell yeah, that's really dope. That's really dope. Hell yeah, shout her out. She's killing it, and looking forward to her next fight for sure. That's really cool. Um, but yeah, man, this fight was really interesting, really badass matchup, and really just physically weird matchup too because Chikagian was 5'9" and Andrade is 5'1.5". So just
Yeah,
like
huge differentials.
in men's fights, or in women's fights too, just in general, it just you don't get that big of a
8
height
inches is a
discrepancy.
lot.
It's
That's
a
a lot.
lot for a weight class.
Oh,
They both
you know what's
close.
funny? We're going to see a 1 foot height differential in this fight next week. Tai Tuivasa versus Stefan Struve is on the undercard.
Wow, that'll be fun to talk about for
Struve's
sure.
6'11" and Tuivasa's 5'11". They're heavyweights.
Oh my God, yes. That's just fun. That's just good old school fun. That's like the
Yeah.
perfect like undercard fight. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right, right. It's
yeah,
circus
this,
fight. Circus
yeah,
fight.
yeah, exactly. I'm not fucking. No, I bet no better's touching that one with a 10-foot pole. Just
God,
too
who knows?
unpredictable, right?
Yeah, right, right,
Yeah,
right.
like,
But
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 anyway,
so yeah, back to the point of like that's the same thing here is like Andrade is so much shorter that it's like, does she swing up? Can she grapple or can Kagan just like literally post like Israel Adesanya does? Like just be a table essentially and be so much longer that you can't
yes.
take her down.
Well, man, so I mean, this part was really crazy because, like, the classic boxing like wisdom would tell you that if you're a shorter fighter, it's good to get in and go to the body. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like that's
absolutely,
like
yeah.
classic, like just boxing 101, like classic boxing knowledge. The shorter fighter, typically, it's a good idea to go to the body early, and um, and that's essentially what happened. But that's usually when a short fighter has that strategy, it's like part of the long game, right? Like you know what I mean? You're not necessarily trying to finish the fight from a body shot, but it's a part of the long play to get them to lower their guard and to
Right.
yeah, you know what I
It's like
mean?
body
So
kicks open up head kicks.
exactly, same exact logic there. And so, but goddamn, I think everybody, including her, was surprised when in the first round she fucking got the TKO from a body punch. Like I don't
On
remember
right
that.
on the diaphragm, like solar plexus, like it was a right counter hook that was like a shovel hook, right? So like kind of an uppercut, kind of a hook, that in between range, but literally like drove it straight into Chikagian's like sternum, just below it, when she was leaned in, like trying to throw. Chikagian was trying to throw an overhand, so she's fully open and exposed, and like, ooh, that's a brutal shot to eat. And then she's like visibly hurt, right? Like turns her
Yes,
back and walks away, like she's like yelling in pain. She's so hurt.
yes,
And then Andrade comes up with another body shot that was
yes.
on the
Doesn't even go for
exact
the
same
head of the
spot.
takedown. Yes, it was
Oh,
ridiculous. Yeah, bro,
oh.
I don't remember the last body. I've seen some like body knees and body kick TKOs. Do you remember the last time you saw a body punch TKO or
The last
maybe
time I saw not a body punch TKO, but I mean, that is
no?
technically that. But like I was gonna say in the DC Stipe fight, if you think about it,
Oh,
this
good
that
point.
when Stipe re-won his belt in the second fight they had, he landed like four massive, massive liver shots, and that's what made DC literally completely drop his hands. And then DC got clocked with the one right overhand and dropped into the fence and finished.
But it still took that. Yeah, but just like
But
yeah,
still took the overhand right to the face.
exactly, bro. Like, and then we've seen some like stoppages
I've seen kicks. I've
from
seen Conor
body
McGregor
kick.
stop Dennis Seaver with a spinning back body kick,
Yes.
but like I've never seen just a straight punch, just like
And then if you took that a step further and said the last time you saw a woman do that, I
maybe.
mean,
I don't know if you've ever seen like a solar plexus TKO from women's
that's what I'm saying. And I don't
because it
remember
wasn't
them
even a liver
mentioning it.
shot. It was
Yeah,
like
I don't
solar
remember
plexus.
them mentioning it being a first, but I goddamn can't remember another example. And I mean, I'm not saying I've watched every UFC fight ever. There's a bunch that I haven't watched, but goddamn, I'm
I can't recall that.
needless to say, it was super rare and super badass and just super scary and just super like goddamn, what a murderer! Your first
Yeah,
fight in so she came up, right?
yeah,
She
up
came
10 pounds.
from strawweight and caves in.
She looked thick too at
Yeah,
125.
yeah, definitely. Like her legs were like quite literally like double the circumference of Chikagian's. Her
Big
arms
thick.
were quite literally double the circumference of Chikagian's. She was just way thicker. But and we talk about all the time though. We talked about it even in the
Uh,
regardless. But just the ability to keep distance. Like on paper, you would have thought that Chikagian could just keep the outside, keep the distance. But like I always say, easier said than done because sometimes those little fucking monsters just come in on you with the power.
yeah, man, I think Andrade is pretty much set to fight Shevchenko next. I think that's what this was, right? Like 125 has no life.
Yes,
This was a shot of life. It's a new challenger.
and it
It's a
worked.
champion. It's a previous champion from 15 coming up to 25 to challenge the reigning champion now. And it's stylistically a bad matchup for Shevchenko because Shevchenko is this crazy great Muay Thai kickboxer, What the hell happens when you get a girl? It's only a wrestler that's just gonna slam your ass every time.
Yeah, and just so strong, so physically strong. Yeah, that's a matchup problem for sure. And yeah, like you said, if Andrade would have came in here and won a decision, but it was close or a split, you could maybe argue with her not getting the title shot, and but with the performance like that, a first round
Yeah, first round
badass
finish.
like freakish TKO, got to give her the shot. Got
Yeah,
to
I
give
think
her the
so.
title shot. Like, and yeah, no, that would be badass. Can't wait to watch that. Can't wait. Hopefully it gets announced. But yeah, no, that was super entertaining, super badass. Also, Andrade is the first female with a win in 3 weight classes, so that was
Yeah,
for sure a first. So
yeah. Cool for her, by the way. Like that's a cool thing, and not a lot of people
yeah,
can even say that across men's divisions, like 3 weight class
three
victories.
weight
Like
classes is
there's not a
ridiculous.
lot of people that
Yeah,
can do that.
two is like, yeah, it's badass, but a lot of people have, or that kind of makes it look like it wasn't voluntary. Maybe you couldn't make a weight class, but three, you just look like a damn like who wants it? What do I need to do? Like I don't know.
Right.
Three, there's no really like flukiness to three.
You know what? Conor McGregor has a win in 3 weight classes now I
Oh
think about
yeah, he
it.
does. Oh fuck
Because
yeah, he does.
170, he beat Nate Diaz in the
Yeah,
170 rematch.
yeah.
Crazy.
That's
Hmm.
wild. That's and think about that. That's fucking what 35
45,
pounds.
55, 70. Yeah, he went 25 pounds in between weight classes. That's big when you consider 45. That's more than 1/6 of the weight class itself.
Yeah, yeah, that's wild. That really is wild. But back when Connor was fighting 35, he looked horrible. Like that was a bad
45.
weight cut. Oh, 45. You're right. It was 45, 55, and 70. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. You're
But
right.
bro, yeah, he looked like he
Yeah.
was gonna die when he made
Yeah,
45.
that was not sustainable for
55
sure.
is his right weight class.
Yeah, because
And
70 he
you
was
could
like,
argue 60 would actually be his right weight class.
yeah, because 70 he looks like he's straight off of like he just put down a Corona and a steak. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
literally, I
Like,
was about to say, it looks like he just swallowed up a bunch of steaks and just slammed down a couple brews.
yeah, just yeah, some proper 12. Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, but man, let's get to this main fucking event because it deserves all the time that we can give it.
Oh, I I don't like the fight wasn't necessarily the greatest fight.
Yeah,
That's the greatest Brian Ortega we've ever seen in the octagon. He
yeah,
looked so good as far as like skill set development,
yeah,
taking off 22 months between his last fight. His
yeah.
last fight, he got dismantled by Max Holloway, who was still a champion at the time. Like, he had to go through
And
multiple
that was his
surgeries, same
first
thing we were
loss.
saying. And that was his first loss. Good point as well. And he's going against Chan Sung Jung, who's minus 200 in the betting odds, and he's plus 170. Brian Ortega, even though he's ranked ahead, he's ranked number 2, and Korean
You
Zombie's
think it
ranked
was
number
just the
4.
time off? You think it was just like
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
unknown and the time
Oh
off?
yeah,
Like,
oh yeah,
yeah,
oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Um, he looked great, dude. Like he
So
dropped
good.
so like they told him he could only have so many coaches, I guess, or something like that, like where he could train at. And so he was like, "Well, I'm a jiu-jitsu instructor myself, and a black belt under the Gracie's, like 3rd degree or something like that." So he's like, "If I have to lose a coach, it has to be my jiu-jitsu coach because I already coach jiu-jitsu. I don't need that, obviously."
Yeah, yeah. That's like Tom
So
Brady not needing a quarterback coach at that point.
right, it's
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, that's like Josh McDaniels didn't need to coach Peyton Manning
yeah.
when he was in Denver. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly. Who the fuck
Peyton
are they?
Manning would do it.
Yeah, yeah. Peyton Manning will coach him.
Yeah, precisely. And so, yeah, and so Brian Ortega went and got these striking coaches, right?
Yes.
His striking looked fucking great last night,
Insane.
man.
Yeah, that's what like because Ortega was like up to this point essentially known as a grappler, and
He
then
was the guy that if you
and
gave him your neck, he would end the fight.
and Korean Zombie was known as like
Striker.
a elite striker, and Ortega proceeded to just dismantle Korean Zombie from like the outside from striking. It
All
was
strikes.
crazy.
All
Yeah, all
strikes.
strikes, all strikes
Well,
against the striker.
and Zombie has really good takedown defense. So I think Ortega kind of knew that coming in and was like, my striking needs to be clean.
Yeah, yeah, and they were fighting at featherweight, 145. Ortega was ranked 2, Zombie ranked 4. Chan Sung Jun also is his government name, but God damn it, I guess if they're gonna market it as Korean Zombie, I guess I'll say Korean Zombie. But
Yeah, for real.
But man, round one was maybe the best round. It was a banger. But yeah, Ortega still took it. It was. I mean, he
Scored a
landed with
knockdown. Scored a
yeah,
knockdown.
scored a knockdown. I mean, we'll just get this out of the way. It was all Ortega. Like I literally gave all 5 rounds to
Oh, yeah, me
Ortega.
too. Me too.
Yeah,
50-45. The judges all agreed 50-45.
exactly. Like there, it was weird because usually when a fight is this one-sided, it's like you can't really say it was entertaining. But because it was so unexpected, because it was a clinical striking performance
From Brian
for a
Ortega.
grappler, it to me was still entertaining. Like it would be like if
Yeah.
the Yankees like just won a game hitting small ball, just getting a bunch of singles and and stealing bases, and you know what I'm saying? It's just
It'd be like watching OU like learn how to run a pro style offense instead of a spread in one
yeah.
season and
Oh,
then
you
come back and just do it and win the national title over Alabama and the
in
SEC.
like a 12-9 game. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Like
Like
with
yeah,
defense winning the game for us. Like that would be what it
exactly.
is. Like a
Yeah.
complete change of character.
Just so unexpected. The story of this fight was not what happened, but how it happened. Because
Mm-hmm.
what happened, that's a one sentence. It was just domination. It was all Ortega. Like I mean, on that front, there's not much to break down. But whenever you consider that, like literally nobody saw this essentially happening from just like a precision striking, like just clinical performance from Ortega.
So I thought, honestly, though, at the opening of the second round, that Zombie was getting a little bit better of this, the trades here and there, and then that spinning elbow came in and
Yeah,
pretty much set the whole direction of the rest of the fight,
yeah.
like bar none.
Well, and there's just we've seen it before. There's this I don't even know if it's a vibe or a look or whatever, but when a fighter whenever you can tell a fighter just has no answers. Like there's just this definitive moment where he knows it, like both fighters know it, all the fans know it, the commentator knows it. There's just like quite literally no answer. Like everything you're trying is not working and everything the other guy's trying is working like really well. Like I don't know, it's just this moment of just like feels like you're looking at like a mouse dropped into a snake cage. You know what I'm saying?
Like how frustrating does that have to be for Zombie, who definitely comes into this fight thinking, if I can keep it standing, I win.
Yes.
And
So
then he
like
keeps it standing, and it's like, oh, fuck.
yeah,
What's
there's just
happening?
exactly. There's just like this. Oh, exactly. It's like if it was a sitcom, it would like pause and be like, like how did I
Where
end
he
up
looks at the
here? Like
camera and is like,
yeah,
what is happening?
yeah, exactly, bro. Exactly, man. Fucking Wayne's World moment was going on, and
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. It was bad at that elbow. I mean, Zombie was taking a lot of damage. He was leaking. He split his eye. From apparently it was a head clash, but
Head clash, I think, late in the third or early in the fourth. Is that right? Late in the third, right?
yeah, late in the third. But it was like I don't know. I felt like if it wasn't from a head clash, there was like 90 other strikes that it could have been from. Like he was getting beat the fuck up. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, my
it wasn't
notes.
like a head clash where you kind of feel like the head clash changed the fight. Like I don't know. Sometimes head clashes can sway a fight one way or another. Like this was
No.
going like this regardless of the head clash.
Yeah, because, like, even in my notes, like 30-27 after three, and then good fourth round for Ortega. I even noted that Zombie isn't getting, like, outclassed necessarily. He just hasn't won any of the exchanges. Like, I guess that's getting outclassed,
He had no
but, like, it
answer.
wasn't. Yeah, but it wasn't like he was getting dominated. It was just like he couldn't win the exchanges.
And man, I'll say it, man. I mean, hence the name Zombie. I mean, he's super tough.
Yeah, he
Kept
is
coming
tough as shit.
forward. Chin. I mean, he survived. He went all 5 rounds. He lost all 5 rounds, but he survived all 5 rounds. I mean, his cardio is there. I mean,
Ortega's cardio looked great, though.
oh yeah, both of these guys. I mean, for a 5 rounder, I mean, they didn't. They were both fought 5 full rounds. Like they weren't struggling to make it the distance. I gotta just say, like Ortega first team all hog. Like I just like. Bro,
Well, I was gonna say,
what's
like,
going
what's
on
up
here?
with
Is
the
his cup
cuffs? Like,
like
what's
9 sizes too big, or is he just
right? That's
literally
what I was
like,
gonna say. That's
does he
what I was
have a
gonna say.
baby
Is
leg?
like,
Like it was
right?
distracting, bro.
I'm glad you asked that because I
Hey, I'm
literally
sorry.
had a
Fuck
problem.
me.
Like, I was gonna ask, like, can he throw kicks with that shit? Like, I was confused, dude. Like, I
What's
was
going
confused. I was
on here?
legitimately confused. Like, I don't know if his like cup was fucked
But
up
like
or like.
McGregor, like would like get like boners when he would fight and shit. Like maybe he's just like one of like Mike Tyson on talked about on Rogan. He would get hard when he would fight, like just the from whatever, call it what you will, from just the thrill. I don't even know. Just like Tyson would like get. I don't know, bro. There was a lot going on. There was a lot fucking going on.
All right, well, those guys all have fucked up brains, and that's probably an indication of why those cups are so large.
Bro, it looked like goddamn, yeah, like Austin Powers penis pump or some shit.
Dude,
I
their
don't
brain
know.
was definitely like, well, we're not smart enough to trick anyone, so with this hog just needs to be so long we can slide it in from a mile away. Like, that was their reproductive body talking to him.
Oh my god, bro, it was so fucking funny. I just like kept cracking dick jokes the whole fight.
It's hilarious you say that about Conor because that's literally who fucking Ortega reminded me of when I looked at it. Whenever I saw it, I was like, the only person that wears a cup this oversized is Conor. Like, it's the only other person. I don't know who else does that shit.
And it's so funny because it's funny either way because either he has a giant hog and he legit needs it, or he doesn't have a
Or
giant
just
hog
being
and
an
he
asshole.
finally. Either way, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
sure.
for
I'm sure it
sure.
gets. I'm sure it gets any like women that watch the sport like gets their interest, right?
Yeah,
Because they're
yeah.
like, "Why is this cup like that?" And guys in the party are just like, "His hog's massive" from the back, and they're just instantly like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." But meanwhile, me and you were like, "Well, it could be like 5 kinds of different
Bro,
cups.
I
Like he
know
could
a
be an
lot of guys.
asshole."
I
Yeah,
know a
like
lot of guys that would intentionally choose to fucking use a bigger
the
cup.
biggest cup possible. Like they're covering their whole fucking area.
Grown men too, like call it like I know, like bro, it's hilarious. Like I said, it's funny either way. But I know I had to fucking bring it up, bro. I just had to like I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like we didn't all just look at that.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing it up because it was something out of fucking this world. Like it looked like he had a fucking cantaloupe growing out of his nuts. I was just
Like, bro,
confused.
did you bring a squash, bro?
Or
Like,
I was like, bro, do you think he's throwing high thigh kicks and you're just trying to break his shin on like a steel cup and you got an oversized one? Like, what was your plans here?
yeah, like I said, either way, like warranted or unwarranted, equally hilarious. But yeah, I
So
guess we'll get into the
I
nuts and
I,
bolts.
I
Go
think we
ahead.
should answer Jay's question,
Yes.
which is does does T City get worked by Volkanovski? Is Volkanovski next for T City? Is new and improved Brian Ortega actually a problem for Alexander Volkanovski? Like, where do you sit on this?
The fight, that's definitely the fight. Like that's
It's
the
the
fight.
fight. It's the
That's
fight.
the fight. And
Dana said that too, to
yeah,
like his credit.
I guess I'm gonna give kind of a fence riding answer here. I think if Ortega looks like he just looked, I think he's just fine against anybody. Like it,
Even Max Holloway.
like against anybody. Because
Yeah,
no, like quite literally, this is a new thing. Like nobody's fought this Brian Ortega besides
absolutely
Korean
agree.
Zombie.
I
So
agree.
so yeah, I mean to think like, after watching that, do I think he's gonna get outclassed and worked and beat the fuck up? Like I don't personally. But like it just like was this some like fluky like moon aligns with Jupiter moment where just everything like went perfectly and we'll never see that again? Like you know what I'm saying? Like but if this is just what it is, like if what we saw is just like we can take it at face value and like this is the new Brian Ortega, then fuck no, I think he's gonna be just fine. I mean, I'm not saying it's gonna be just like he'll win, but do I think he's gonna be just like beat up and outclassed and work? No.
Man, to be honest, I think if this same Ortega that fought last night fights Volkanovski, that's big problems for Alexander Volkanovski. Like that's big fucking
I
problems.
like
And
the spicy take. I like it.
I think Volkanovski is aware of those being big problems too, because if you were seeing his tweets last night,
Yes, yeah, I wanted to bring that
he
up.
was saying like, "This is what I've been waiting for: someone to take that number one spot, someone to
Yes,
be a better challenger than Max Holloway. This is what I needed you guys to do for me in this division."
yeah,
And I think
he
it's
was paying mad respects, like mad respects,
and he's a genuine guy. He's a nice guy, but he's also a super competitive guy. So for him to do that, I almost think it was like him acknowledging like, "This is going to be tough for me. Like I got my work set out in front of me."
me too, and it's not like the disingenuous like the high school head coach who's like we beat this team by 60 points last year, but I'm trying to get my team to practice hard. He's like, these guys can win if you let your guard down. Like, no, like it felt like legit, like hats off, sir. Like I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to this.
it was like watch the tape. Okay, they're good. Their technique is there. Their size is there. We need to come up and we need to play. Like we're
yes,
gonna have to play to win this game. Like, and
yeah,
I know you've been in film where your coaches have told you that, same as me.
yes,
Like,
yes.
hey, like we need to do our job, or we will not win the game.
Exactly, and I feel like that's the energy I was getting from those Volkanovski tweets.
And that's
it felt
great energy to
genuine.
get. Like that's great energy to get because then it's like that championship is contested and is like gonna be a good fight from both guys' perspectives. Like they expect that to be a good fight.
Yeah, man. Like honestly, like I was a little bit bummed that like this fight spent like no time on the ground. I don't know. Like, I thought after like 4 rounds of
Yeah,
winning the stand
well,
up, he maybe should have tried to get the sub victory. Or I don't know. Like because we know there's grappling's there was what I'm getting at.
but
But
if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Like if you're up
very
four
true.
rounds,
Yeah.
don't even try.
True.
Like
True.
you
True.
won
True.
four this way. But I agree with
In the
you.
Volkanovski fight, he's probably going to have to use
He's
more
gonna
of
have
that.
to do that.
Yeah,
He's gonna
yeah.
have to do that for sure.
That's kind of what I was like getting into for sure. Yeah,
And it
that
sounds
does.
like Ortega is pretty ready for the Volkanovski thing because I watched the UFC post fight night show or whatever it was with Michael Chiesa and all them, and he was saying that for Volkanovski he likes the way they match up, but that Volkanovski is just really good at winning the rounds through like point fighting. It was kind of like I don't think he's throwing shade, but
That's
it's
an
honestly the
accurate
truth.
statement.
It's
Yeah,
honestly
yeah,
the
yeah.
truth. Like Volkanovski plays the game of like I don't think he won the fight against Max Holloway, but you could argue he won 3 of the
Yeah,
rounds.
man, but I'm saying that's what a lot of champions do, but like a lot of people
John
figure
Jones
that
is
out.
great at the point fighting.
It's kind of like I don't know. I was watching Moneyball last night, and it so like it kind of
Analytics, yeah.
yeah, like nobody likes it. It's not fun, but like good luck like finding an argument against it. Like I mean, like Usman, like fucking, like a lot of these, like you know what I mean. It's especially once you have the belt, because whenever you're on your way up, it's like fuck it, I'm risking everything. Like but there's a transition that happens once you get the belt and you're defending it.
Because you don't want to lose it. It's not obtaining it, it's not losing it.
It's a totally different dynamic. It's defense versus offense, like quite literally. Like and
Yeah, seriously.
yeah, and it favored like guys like Volkanovski figure it out. Like it does become about that. Like it's not about like if you have a belt and you've defended your belt a few times. Like it's no longer about trying to win fight of the night bonuses and fucking performances. Like it's about like quite literally just winning the game. Like
Well, and at a point, it becomes about like attaining greatness is like over just your time, but like over the history of your weight class, right? Like that's what Khabib has set forth for himself. Is like he doesn't
yes,
chase the belt now; he chases like being the greatest lightweight of all time, which
or
requires him to win multiple fights as being the champion.
yes, that very valid point. And also, or guys that can't kind of make that switch to the defensive mentality, those are the guys that chase multiple belts, right? Like there's certain guys just have it in their
Yeah,
DNA that they just have to like just all gas, no brakes. Like I had forward only, like
it's kind
certain
of like
guys.
Connor. Like Connor doesn't seem like the
Yeah.
guy to defend the belt. He seems like the guy to always chase the belt.
Yes, and he'll even vacate a belt if he has to. Totally.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah,
he'll give it away, just come take it back.
and that's what's so interesting about this Jones thing is because he's kind of trying to have his cake and eat it too. He was the
Right.
belt defender on defense for so many years, and now he's trying to like
Chase a heavyweight
reignite
belt.
that flame and kind of go back on offense. And
But he puts out tweets like, should I go get my belt back at 205 and shit like that. And it's like, no, dude, that's not the chase because you gave that up. No one took it from you. You gave it up. So it's not a chase to go get
that's
205.
stupid.
Like, go to heavyweight, quit paying attention to these guys. You did it for too many years. Like, we're past it. We're past it. We know that stylistically you're ready to match up with all those guys. So don't do that. Like,
Yeah,
that's like
vacating your
Ortega.
own belt and then trying to get it back is like
It's like the wackest move of all
stocking your
time.
own pond full of fish and being like,
And
"Oh
then
my gosh, I
fishing the
can't."
shit out of it and catching a record from your own pond. It's like, well, you put it in there, so
Yeah,
you knew it was there.
exactly, bro. Exactly, bro. Exactly, man. So, no, I feel you, bro. John Jones drives me nuts on Twitter. It drives me up the goddamn wall. But
Hey, Israel has been Internet Izzy has been live on John Jones on Twitter.
yeah, but see, then I'm kind of talking out both sides of my neck here because it's like I'm gonna contradict the fuck out of myself. It's like, well, no, and Izzy, yeah, no, Izzy's at 185.
85, yeah.
So, and he wants to fight Jones at 205. Is that the
Yeah.
like that's
Mhm.
the bubbling that's the bubbling
I
controversy?
think he said he'd meet him all the way up at 215 as like a catchweight fight just to like beat him.
But all right, so A,
Cuz he
I
said
think
their
so many
fights
things have to happen first, bro. Like A, I don't think that needs to be first Izzy's first fight fighting up. So I think the first thing that would need to happen with Izzy to get the light heavyweight belt, in my opinion.
I agree. No, I this you're going to say the same path that I agree with. All right, so go ahead, go
And
ahead,
then
go ahead.
and then Jones needs to fight, not even win the belt, just fight one heavyweight fight. Just fight one.
At least one, probably two.
I'm fine with that too, but I'm just saying, like, he needs to actually just do this heavyweight thing, just do it. It's like the Izzy thing's a side quest and he needs to come back to. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
because
he
it's like
needs to
one of those
come
things
back.
where it like Izzy's gonna build his brand up, and John needs to go and do his thing, and then when they come back and meet in the middle, it's this clash of like typhoons rather than just waves in the ocean.
Do you know how many years older John is than Izzy? Because that I think that factors in too,
Izzy
right?
is 31 and John is 34.
So not really. I don't think
Not
time.
too
No,
far
I mean
off.
Izzy
Like
obviously has a few
if they
more.
get it in before John's 38, like if they get it in when he's 36, 30 almost 37, I think that's
Yeah, I
fine. And
think
Izzy will be
that's
34 at that point. So
see to me. I wanna see.
thanks, Nick. Appreciate it.
I wanna see the. It's tough. It's tough. It's like I wanna have my cake and eat it too. Like I do really really want to see Izzy get a 205 belt. I think that sounds so fun, and I think that's way more fun than like Thiago Santos or Blahovic or like
And
like
I think he could beat those guys, just to
oh
be
yeah,
quite honest, you know.
fuck yeah he could, and so that's the part of this. Like to be honest, like Jones. I don't think Jones can do anything at this point to make it more interesting. Izzy can check off a few more boxes to just fucking make this through the roof, in my opinion. I mean, if John does win a heavyweight belt, that obviously is interesting as fuck. But I just let me yeah. How do you think? Let's spend a little time. How do you think John's like? If you were matchmaker, put on your Dana hat. If it was up to Harrison, how would you like map out like John's like heavyweight like journey? Like how many fights before the title shot? Like you know what I'm saying? Like how
I I think for me, if I'm Mick Maynard, who's like the matchmaker for 170 and up, a lot of this depends on what weight does John Jones fight heavyweight at. Does he fight at 250? Because that's crazy, and he's really heavy, and to cut back down to 205 or close to it's going to be a lot. If he
I don't
fights at
think
two,
so.
I don't think he will. I think he'll fight like 235,
Yeah.
230, like Stipe does, right?
Yep.
So I think at that weight, it's not out of the question that he could easily come back to 215, 210 if you want to do a little catch weight, but he could probably do 205 if it really meant it. But the thing you got to consider is the older he gets, the harder that weight cut is.
Yeah. True. And
So
he's
it's like,
tall as
to,
shit.
yeah, so to ask him to continually stay to 205 is kind of crazy. Maybe you make an inaugural weight class of 225, him and Izzy. But can Izzy make 225? That's kind
No,
of
I
big
don't
for
want to
Izzy.
see. You know how many boob memes are gonna be if he's at 215? Jesus.
I mean, he walks around though at like 215. That's what Izzy walks around at. That's
Really?
granted with like water weight and stuff on him, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But
mean,
it's interesting. It's interesting,
it's
right?
super interesting. The thing you got to be careful with though is like
They're not really
it,
the same size of human, just to be
Izzy.
quite honest.
Yeah,
Like John
yeah.
Jones is probably 15 pounds bigger at a comfortable fighting weight at all times.
I think more than that, bro. I mean, let's
Probably,
not
probably
forget.
25
Like,
pounds.
bro, like honestly, like if John is not a fighter, he looks probably a whole lot more like like his brother
Chandler and
Chandler
Arthur.
Jones or
Yeah,
Arthur than he looks like Izzy.
right. Because
If
he keeps
he's
his legs so thin because of all the running he
That's
does
what I'm
without doing all the
saying.
squats and stuff.
If he was just a dude, like or if he just would have played football like his brothers, I mean, he would easily be 260. So I think the fighting keeps him small, and I think Izzy, like you said, even when he's just walking around, he's 215, he's tall, he is like a basketball, like a two guard body,
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
and John Jones is a DN body.
Yeah, they're just
Just
different
yeah,
physiques. Like, so to get them to fight in the same weight is going to be a weird thing no matter what we
it's gonna
do.
be weird.
So,
I'll say, I mean, I'll be real. Like, I'm a huge Izzy fan. He loses that.
the more he comes up, the worse it is for him. Like, the
Yes,
lower John Jones has to come in weight, the
true.
better it is for Izzy. That's
Like,
completely how I view the fight. Weight's going to
but
determine
even
a
at
big amount.
205, bro. Like, say they fight at 205, like, bro. I mean, John's better on the ground, off top. Like, check that
Oh,
box
for
for
sure,
John.
for
Check that
sure.
box.
And
So that's like half
his
of it.
his chin is crazy.
He's
Like,
gonna
John
have
can
the.
take shots from heavyweights and not get knocked out.
He has the strength advantage. And the thing that is, he always has like essentially typically has the reach advantage, and he typically has the speed advantage. He typically has the athletic advantage. He
He's
typically
not
has
going to
the
have
I
reach or probably in like speed, maybe even
or
against John.
maybe speed or maybe even IQ. Like that's what I'm saying. Like all of
Yeah,
these advantages are neutralized, bro. Like I'm a huge Izzy fan, but I don't think he wants that smoke. Like for real.
it's a great question, man. They're both so
Like
good.
what box? We gotta run a little bit out of time, but before we go, can you think of like a box that Izzy checks over John Jones, like fluidity or like I mean like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, like his kicks. His kicks are way better. Like his leg kicks, his kick defense, and his head kicks are all better,
yeah,
faster, more
fair,
powerful, probably
fair,
more precise. But John's wrestling is way better than Izzy's wrestling
yeah,
defense or wrestling offense.
and jujitsu probably too.
Probably, yeah, probably, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
John's actually done submission only grappling tournaments and stuff, like outside of fighting when he was suspended. So
yeah, yeah. So I'm not liking Izzy's chances, but man, that's Beefy Boys Breakdown episode 20. And while this
20,
episode
baby.
was good, the next one's God damn it, I can't wait.
Gaethje,
21.
Gaethje Khabib, let's go.
JG Habib, let's fucking go, man. Thank you so much for your time, Harrison. Thank you to everybody watching, listening. Go subscribe on YouTube. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Hit us up. We love y'all. Thank you.